Hi, I'm Sero. This is my Twitch stream, seroRPG, because Sero does RPG things, and I often do them with my RPG friends. Again, like today. Yay! I feel like a Muppet.
Yay!
All right, this is part 2 of our Old Gods of Appalachia one shot. It became a 2-shot, which, happens often, especially if I'm running something, but it wasn't me running it this time. It was
I'm a
Alyss.
yapper.
Alyss, thank you for coming back and doing this again.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love this game.
It's a pretty fun game. It's very specific to the locale, which is a bit difficult for me not having been anywhere near that locale. Do you want to let everyone know where you're from here, Alyss?
Well, as Sarah already said, I am specific to the locale. You can find me stalking the woods in Georgia. But online, you can find me at Alyss Hart or Hellion Hart, or you can find all of my social media and all of my appearances on my card, alyssHart.carrd.co.
Excellent. And returning again once more is Cap. Hi, Cap.
Hello. I was just looking at your stream to see where I was positioned between all these floating heads. And I think I got a great spot. I'm Cap, he, him. Hello, everybody. You can find me on Shrimp and Crits, doing all sorts of fun stuff. I'm on all your favorite podcasts. You can find me at It's Cap, I think, on Twitter and such. Find me there. I'm here. Hello.
Laura just said that she will loudly judge things I get wrong, which will be my accent, because I attempt to emulate everyone else here and fail and then forget. But my character's a wanderer. She'll pick up any accent. Also returning is Heather. Heather, thank you for coming back.
Oh, thank you for having me yet again. It always feels good when you can go somewhere and get a return invite. Like those two things.
That's true.
Crucial. I'm Heather. I use she, her. Yeah, I think this is my 4th time. It's very exciting. I feel like part of the family now. My name's Heather. I use she, her pronouns. I'm usually found on Nameless Monsters. We're on Twitter. Thank you for that, Cap. Thank you. Twitter and Blue Sky. And I'll be playing the continuation of Euphonia Johnson, who also uses she, her.
Excellent. And once again is fellow, although honorary, Kiwi David. David, thanks for coming back.
Thank you. Good to be here. You mentioned pre-stream that you felt like somebody was with a chainsaw outside of your house. Sorry, that was just me. I wandered down to Wellington and cut down some trees. My name's David Easley. You most commonly find me on the internet on a show called Trials of the Apocalypse. It's a podcast where we try different Powered by the Apocalypse games and do different one-shots. I've also appeared a multitude at this point of times on Sarah's streams, predominantly as a GM running Brindlewood Bay, and Monster of the Week for that matter. But today I'm returning as a player here in Old Gods of Appalachia, and I'm very excited to be back.
Excellent. Okay, just a very quick amount of administrative stuff. Remember, the audience can influence the game. There are a number of ways to do that, but one way is free for the audience, is to use your Kiwi coins, which are the channel points down the bottom of the chat there. Otherwise, you can tip or cheer some biddies and influence the game a little bit. The plus ones and minus ones from last weekend, I removed them all. So we're all starting again from scratch. So if you've kept any notes, players, remove those. As for the audience, I technically rejected them. So all of your channel points, your Kiwi coins went back to you. They have not been spent. So don't worry about that. And now I will hand it over to Alyss, the Game Master. Take us back to Appalachia.
Yes. We will head back to 1934 to the town of Elegy in eastern Tennessee. We have our 4 hunters, adventurers, town citizens, even dealing with a little bit of a missing person case. Honestly, a little bit more than a missing person case. And I think it's always fun to hear from the players about what they remember from last time.
Classic GM avoidance.
I always love to see what y'all remember. I love to see if anyone misses some really interesting plot elements I can bring up later. So 1 XP to whoever wants to recap.
Oh. I've already got one, so I won't dive on it. But I'll be happy to pitch in.
Far be it for me to turn down an experience point.
Yeah.
Our delightful crew was notified in town that there was somebody who had gone off and decided to drown in the lake. And so Mr. Beatty, who the person who went missing was, we went out going looking for him. Ran into Harry and Henry there, who are the Parker twins, kids who had watched him get kind of pulled from the dock where he was fishing into the lake. Quite suspicious stuff. We poked around the lake for a little while. We went out on a boat. Well, I didn't go out on the boat. I stayed on the shoreline where I belonged. Other folks went out on the boat. That's right. And we even we even threw Stump in the water. And Stump got a good look from under the sea and noticed there was like maybe some cloudy stuff down there and but nothing too immediately dangerous. And so we had Hattie and Euphonia went off. They saw a lady on the lake shore and went off to the north side of town or I guess towards the company town. Was that northeast? I don't quite remember.
I thought it was east.
Okay.
It was northeast of town, yes.
Okay. So they went to the north side of the lake and then went to the east to go to where the company town was. And meanwhile, Stump and Zedikiah, we had a completely normal afternoon fishing by the lake, or tried to anyways, trying to lure whatever the heck had gotten Mr. Beatty. And we saw some eyes peeking at us from the woods and found just the strangest moose. It was some sort of infected, a muddy red, draining from its maw, 6 eyes, if I recall right, legs that didn't bend the way you want them to bend, all sorts of things that were quite upsetting about it. And Stump did put it to rest, and we then, wondering where the others had gotten off to, started to wander that way and then heard a multitude of similar noises behind us and decided that maybe we should make haste towards the north side, and that's where we started running. Meanwhile, getting up to their own shenanigans in town, with company town, Hattie and Euphonia were kind of stonewalled asking some questions, I think at a general store. And after dealing with some measure of discrimination there, had decided to go off and do their own investigation. And I can't quite remember the connecting glue, but we ended up at following a preacher around. Yeah, we attended a service because there was rumor that the woman you were looking for, that somebody matched her description, was part of his family.
Could have been, yeah.
And after he claimed not to know who you're talking about, you all just decided to break into a home where you found a picture of said woman, and I think
on a creepy altar.
Yeah, on like a creepy altar. There's definitely some weird, potentially dead people or ghost stuff going on. We haven't quite dug into the specifics yet, but I think the person we're looking for may or may not be around in the land of the living as we would quite expect, based on what we have seen. Feel free to pepper in any details that I have overlooked, but that's the quick summary.
Well
that
done.
I'm up near where they're. What are they doing? They're digging up for the railroad. Having followed the pastor up there, so I'm tailing him. Well, Euphonia's just gotten the hell out of Dodge. But haven't you encountered a dude, a bastard?
I have
as we called
indeed.
him?
Yes, I did, and will continue to do so. The railroad bastard.
Yeah, and the 2 dudes are somewhere after having had a lazy afternoon of fishing, right?
Totally normal day.
While the women folk go out and do all the investigating, the men are, of course, just fishing. Right, got it. Yeah.
It's 1934, okay?
As Vatari in the audience has said, some of the Appalachians are still stuck in 1934.
Mm-hmm.
For better or for worse.
Mm. All right.
You crushed it, David. Good shit.
Well done.
One way to
earn
XP,
that.
David.
Thank you.
Thoroughly earning that 1 XP there.
Hey, it's one more than I had a second ago.
Exactly.
Too true.
Yeah. Sounds about right for this little eclectic group. Hattie passed on past Father Finner's trail. The menfolk running through the woods in Miss Euphonia. Handling this man from the railroad, or is he handling you?
Guess we'll see.
We left off with him stopping you before you could follow after Hattie. Hard to really distinguish much about his feelings or what he might be thinking. After all, his face seems to switch every few moments the longer you concentrate on it. Something horribly graphic and absolutely terrible faces of people that you've lost to the railroad one way or another. You almost have to glance off to the side of him for that to obscure again, and it's like trying to catch water in an empty bucket. It holds for a second and drips right out. So you are causing an awful lot of trouble here in my work site, ma'am.
Well, that is certainly not my intention. And having come up empty, I shall find my friend and we'll go back to where we belong.
Or you can just head on out right now, yes, and I can send her your way.
Well, I reckon that's fine, but I expect I'll be able to find her much quicker than you will. After all, you're a very important man, and I'm sure you've got better things to do than deal with a couple of ladies.
Oh, nothing is ever so important as making sure progress goes unheeded, and I think you'll find I have a way about me when it comes to my place.
Well, I suppose that's all there is to be said then.
So if you'd follow in the opposite direction, you'll find your way right back to the main road and right back to your quaint little town.
Yes, sir. Yes. I know where I belong. And I turn and walk away.
You're walking right out of
I guess so.
little pop-up?
He's run me off.
I'm all alone. Help.
I'm not going to leave, though. I'm just going out of the town. I will wait for Hattie back on the main road.
And Hattie, you are in the opposite direction. How closely are you following the good father?
Well, you remember I'm skipping after him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, my
How could we
little
forget?
arm swing and a hop as I attempt to skip. Oh, look, my watch says I'm doing activity.
Oh my god.
Probably, I don't know. I'll just keep him within sight. So I can't rightly say how distant that is.
Like, are you trying to keep him in close sight or just enough to follow after?
I think it varies. Sometimes she'll skip a bit too far forward. The times she'll hang back, try to vary it so he doesn't notice, although he probably does notice because that makes it even more noticeable, right? Especially when you're skipping.
And this is a very plain kind of truck-worn path. This isn't like a road well traveled. You can hear off in the distance a little bit more noise. All the men out there working to clear a path for the incoming tracks. It's right on time for lunch, so
Hungry.
you can definitely hear a few of them starting to mill back. Very few are heading back towards town, so much as finding places to sit in the shade and find what level of comfort they can on these extra shifts they're picking up.
I'm sure my tummy's rumbling, and I'm like, oh, now Tilly, we've forgotten about lunch. How long you think I'm gonna have to follow this man?
I don't know, how long are you following this man, Hattie? Or are you getting distracted by the sounds of tin pails and wrapped up sandwiches and
I'm thinking I'm probably actually quite hungry because we didn't have no breakfast. You think Miss Euphonia probably have some something on her we could have eat?
your guess is as good as mine, Hattie.
We haven't had meat in a wee while. You think Miss Euphonia has some meat or maybe some beans?
I mean, this day and age, meat's a little hard to come by for anyone that hasn't recently taken out one of their own cattle stock or one of the poor, thin little chickens in their yard.
Stump, he did that catch that little fish. I think I'll go find Stump and we can have a little fry up some fish.
So you're abandoning your quest to follow the pastor.
He's walked a long way. Tie it.
You are well within your rights. In fact, as you turn back towards town and
skip back,
you do notice out towards the edge of this little pop-up town a gentleman in a fine gray suit watching after you.
Tilly, there's a man in a fine gray suit. Seems to be watching out after us. What do you think of him?
Tilly is quiet again.
Uh-oh. That's never good. Skip faster.
Yeah,
I just want to point out for the audience that Mad Hattie cannot skip. She just kind of throws her arms forward and then does a little hop. That's her reckoning of skipping.
Yeah, Hattie, eventually you'll make it back to Euphonia, and that stranger has pretty much slipped your mind. And in fact, if you try and recall, you think you can remember a nice gray suit and just a standout, but hard to really recall anything else.
Miss Euphonia, you think we could have something for lunch?
Sure, it is lunchtime, isn't it? Say, did you see that railroad man in the
What?
gray suit?
I saw a gray suit. I didn't know there was a man in it, though.
Did he speak to you?
The suit?
Yeah.
No. I skipped away. I was pretty hungry. I'm still pretty hungry. You think Stump caught any more fish?
I'm sure he did. I don't know what else they could be doing over there other than trying to catch fish. I guess let's go back and find him. That man upset me. And I feel like he's got something to do with all this mess. I don't like it. Don't like it, Hattie.
I don't think Tilla liked it either. She gone quiet.
Did she? That's never good.
She been a little bit quiet, of late. But once we got here, she on this side of the lake, she started making noises again. But when we saw her suit, nope.
Well, I must be right then. He must be no good. Let's go find the boys.
Most men are no good, Miss Euphonia.
That's truth.
Right, gentlemen. Last we heard of y'all, you're being chased through the woods at the base of the mountains. Any of that changed? Did you try and loop around? Or are you letting this not deer keep you running?
I figure between the two of us that Stump knows these woods far better than I. Stump, is there any direction that you would guide us in fleeing from these creatures at this time?
I think you're muted.
Yeah. Nothing's coming through, Cap.
Muted. Rude. Who could have done such a thing?
I didn't do it.
Monster.
We didn't. We put down the not deer, right?
You put down one of them.
Oh, great!
One
behind us, and
thank you.
To hoof it.
Where the dock was, there's a structure there, right?
There's a dock.
There's a dock. Where's the boat?
Oh,
maybe not deer don't like boats or water. Maybe we can go in the water. I think that's the place I'm going. I don't know where else I would run besides the boat.
Yeah, if you, I think Zedikiah is just following you wherever you're headed. Yep. So we arrive on the shoreline. Sorry, the boat was borrowed to the north. So I guess we'd have to run around to the north side of the lake if we wanted to get on the boat.
That's true.
But I suppose we could do that, assuming we do that, and we evade the creature for long enough. Arriving at the shoreline, I think you maybe go to start pushing the boat back out onto the water, and Zedikiah, well, are we really going to get in the boat? We're going to be helpless out on the lake. There's nowhere to run.
We're helpless where we are. You ever seen a deer in the water? I haven't. I don't know if this is my voice, but I'm sure it's pretty close.
It's been a week. We're both.
We've been running. We fought a not deer. It's been a day.
My voice has just raised an entire octave in the week in between, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's a stressful day. You got any better ideas than getting in the boat?
I'm not
climb a tree. Deers can't climb trees, I don't think.
I'm just kind of hesitant around the water most of the time, but
well, it ain't gonna bite you.
Kind of under his breath. Well, I'm not so sure about that. It did get poor Beatty, but Well, either way, I guess we can. You still got that spear with you. We can get out in the lake and go fishing. Have a normal time fishing away from whatever's
It's a normal
in these
fishing day. Yeah.
It's a normal fishing day.
dedication. I love it.
Every time we try not to fish, something bad happens. So logic says we should be fishing.
That's right. So
you both are
we'll join you on the boat.
Trying to spear a fish from a boat.
We're just going on the boat.
Yeah.
We're not going to immediately start fishing.
Do we see, as we push the boat under the water, clamber in, I think Zedikiah finally does get his shoes and ankles wet, a fact that he is quite frustrated with.
So sorry.
I was avoiding it all day. But do we see anything on the shoreline from the woods that was making its way behind us, or is it eerily quiet?
Why don't you give me a task difficulty 3 roll there, Zedikiah? For a total of a 9.
Yeah, I'll accept that as is. We'll see what happens. That is great first roll of the day, everybody. That is a natural 1.
Oh.
Very good. You did just get an experience, right? Does that do anything?
If you want to re-roll, you can.
I have enough to spend on it. How much does it take?
It's just 1 XP lets you re-roll.
Yeah, I was up to 3, so I'll bump myself back down to 2, and I will go ahead and do that because I think at this particular moment we don't need any more free intrusions for the GM.
I'm still holding
another 1.
Are you serious?
I rolled a 2 this time.
Oh my god! Wow.
Thankfully, only 1's generate intrusions.
Yep.
Okay.
Still didn't meet that 9 though, so you let me know what happens.
Yeah, no, you don't see much of anything. It's still pretty quiet out here. At some point, you figure you had to have lost that thing. And it's a big lake. Maybe it went up on another shore or something. It's farther than you can see to the other shoreline.
Really. Stump, I'm looking at the bush line, and I think we might have lost it. Maybe it did climb a tree. Admittedly, I haven't looked up in the branches yet.
Well, I'll tell you, if it climbed a tree, we got a whole nother set of problems.
Well, true to your word, I don't see it out here on the water, so I suppose we succeeded in that metric.
And we didn't see the bodies of our friends, so hopefully they're safe.
I don't know if not seeing the bodies is quite enough to make such a claim, but I suppose we can at least hold out hope for now. Maybe if we're not so worried about the creatures clambering across the lake towards us, we're still fairly close to the shore. I think we could call for them. Maybe they might hear us. Maybe our voices might carry across the water.
Yep, let's yell as loud as we can.
Yeah, Zedikiah will just kind of Hattie, Euphonia,
where are you?
In my head, Zedikiah was just doing the exact same volume that David just did it, and he thinks that he's really, really projecting.
Look, I don't want to peek my microphone. The audience can imagine.
Listen, let me have my headcanon. I'm a fan too.
Someone said talk softly and carry a big stick, so he's just following that.
If I didn't know better, I'd think Zedikiah wasn't real and was my intrusive thoughts as personified.
That's my secret, Cap. I've always been your intrusive thoughts personified.
Whoa. Yeah, I think we're just standing in the middle of a lake on a boat yelling as loud as we can. We're really bad at mysteries.
Euphonia, Hattie, did you go back into town to grab lunch, or did you actually go back to the lake?
I think we said we were going back to find the guys. We assumed they were at the lake.
Thank God. We need it. We need all the help we can get.
I mean, that one little fish is long gone.
But
I swallowed it whole.
You better get more fish for me.
Got some knot deer.
Tell me I'm pretty looking and then not give me no fish.
And these days.
Yeah, Hattie, Euphonia, I'd say after probably about a good 15, 20 or so minutes of these boys sitting out on the water, you do make your way back to them and just see them.
It worked! Here they are!
Miracle of miracles. Hey, watch out for the shoreline. There's been some moose spotted.
Moose?
Big ones.
Yeah, they're kind of 6 eyes, like moose.
Sickly.
Moose don't have 6 eyes, Zedikiah.
This is one of the biblically accurate mooses.
Yeah, it's the kind that Isaiah warned us about in the Old Testament.
I can read.
Y'all, did you find anything about Mr. Beatty? About the thing that grabbed him? About anything?
Well, if I'm being completely honest with you, we were trying to fish, right? So Mr. Beatty was fishing when the thing happened upon him, so we were trying to fish. And then while we were trying to fish, we saw these 6-eyed moose staring at us from the woods, so we went to go investigate. And when we did challenge it, it was dripping all manner of that sickly red muck that we've been finding over here by the lake out of its mouth. Not something you want to see out of a moose or any creature on God's fair earth. And so it did bite me in the buttocks. It was
took a big chunk.
Not an experience I care to return to. It was not a moment of joy or sincere gratitude from me, but it did happen, and I do report it to you now. But after Stump here dispatched with the moose, we heard friends of its there in the woods, and so we returned out here to the boat to continue with our fishing. It has not been terribly effective yet. We did eat one fish earlier, and we were not batting 0, but
all right. So let me tell y'all what I saw. And I assume that I would have told Hattie on the way back. We found a mighty suspicious preacher who has a strange shrine to his sister, wife, mother, somebody.
Wait, all those things in one person?
I certainly hope not.
Mayhaps the man's a Mormon if he had a sister wife.
But I pull the picture out and share it with everybody. I believe this.
Did the guys come in?
Nope. I can't see it from here.
Well, come on. Come closer and you can see it.
Shall we go in?
Hang on, Miss Euphonia. Maybe we should make them stay out there till they catch us some lunch.
Well, you're not wrong there.
Earn your keep, man, folk.
We can't be doing all the detecting.
What?
Yeah.
All we have out here is a spear right now. You happen to have a line of some kind? Beatty didn't have one. He was noodling.
I thought Mr. Stump just hopped in the water and he just threw them fish out.
I mean, I can noodle.
Yeah, but now we're out.
You want to look at the photograph? I'll noodle us a catfish.
You know what? Noodle us a catfish for lunch.
Noodle us a catfish.
We'll have ourselves a discussion.
All right, we're coming in.
Wait for 10 minutes for Cap to finish pantomiming rowing.
Thank you.
So this is the picture. This is what was in a frame on this weird altar with a bunch of chairs around it and candles everywhere behind a locked door on the second floor of this man's house. After I got this and left, I was going to find Hattie, and I ran into the man from the railroads. He was wearing a gray suit, and every time I looked at him, all I could see were the faces of the young men that we've lost. And it was terribly upsetting. And I don't know what we do with that. And I don't know. I just don't. I don't know where this leaves us, and I don't know where we are. But we've got monsters in the woods. We've got something in the water pulling folks under. We've got this bastard from the railroad trying to run everybody down.
Miss Euphonia, I don't really know what what this man's born out of wedlock has to do with anything.
It was more a statement on his personal worth and not a reflection on his parentage.
Could be both, though.
Could be.
Well, you have the picture here, right, representing what you saw. If in this woman you've encountered, well, are we certain that she's of the living? Because if she's not, we might have a shot at speaking with her otherwise.
Well, if you think you can, I know that that's in your wheelhouse.
Well, I make no promises. The dead only speak to who they wish, and only when the forces that be permit them. But I can always give it a shot, especially with some catfish in the belly.
Working on it.
So Stump, you're jumping into the mud and tossing your hand under.
That could have looked better. I regret what I just did.
That's
But
the
yeah.
true noodling experience.
That's the
there.
true noodling.
Why don't you
Sure.
go ahead and give me a task difficulty of 2 or 6.
Noodling from the perspective of the catfish, just
yeah, exactly. That's a 16.
Woo!
Perfect.
I got new dice today.
Yay!
Love it. We love to see it.
Although
Sometimes
I don't
it's
do
all you
much in
need.
this. Mostly catching fish.
Yeah. Hey, you're good
important.
for something.
Everybody's got a talent.
But yeah, Stump, after a few minutes, you do manage to catch hold of a nice sized catfish that's been hiding a little bit.
All right, I'm cooking dinner. Well, lunch. Early dinner.
Something.
Supper.
Dinner somewhere. So if Euphonia is willing to give the picture to Zedikiah, I would be happy to attempt to question the spirits again.
Yeah.
Definitely roll for it.
Oh, yeah. I think the setup for this is Zedikiah is actually going to kind of grimace a little bit and then tear just a little bit off of the picture and eat it and kind of make a face.
What I made the catfish for.
He'll take a bit of the fried catfish, kind of tuck the bit of the picture in there, eat it together, and much improved. And then he'll reach into his vest and he'll pull out his little bell again, and he'll give it a little ring, and he's gonna close his eyes, and he's gonna. I think this time he's gonna hum softly, it's almost like a lullaby, like a lullaby or a lure of some kind, and he's just. And periodically ringing that little bell, and he's trying to kind of bring the spirit forth to him in some way. If there is a spirit, if whatever, we do not have enough information to really speak to the effectiveness of this, but we're going to give it a shot, right?
Definitely a catfish spirit.
Oh yeah. He did defeat the catfish too. We talked to the catfish. What happens?
She turns into a river maid spirit.
Uh-huh.
Part catfish, part woman.
Here's the thing, Zedikiah.
Yeah.
You start all of this,
Mhm.
and normally you'd be reaching out to spirits, but it's almost like something's reaching out to you instead. And I actually need you to make an intellect defense roll for me. A task difficulty 6.
Ooh, that's a high task difficulty.
And that's an 18.
Yeah. Let's see what I got. I might be able to buy that down a little bit. Let's see. I'm good at speed defense tasks. This is not one of those. I do have training in seeing through a trick, illusion, ruse, or lie, and understanding magic.
Unfortunately, this is a little...
what do I have in ciphers?
What do you have in ciphers?
I've got one that helps me recover, and I've got one that helps me see in the dark. Neither are particularly helpful here.
Perfect.
Remember, you can always spin you out of your pool to lower it by 1 level of ease.
I think I will go ahead and do that, and that's going to cost me... intellect is my edge. I have 1 edge in intellect. 2.
You can bring that down to at least a 5 to a 15.
You know, that gives me a shot at least. We'll go ahead and roll that. I mean, well, so far we've rolled a 1 and a 2. We can only go up from here, right?
You've also got 3 XP, so you can always re-roll if you need to.
Well, I'm down to 2 XP because I re-rolled earlier.
You just got one, though.
Oh, you're right.
I got one.
It's the bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The butt ox.
But I don't need it because I rolled a 17.
Nice.
We're on fire. The boys are back.
Boys are back.
Fish and spirits.
So,
yep.
Zedikiah, how many years would you say you've been doing this sort of folk magic, reaching out to spirits and the like?
So I think Zedikiah, when he was a child, realized that most people don't see or acknowledge the spirits that are commonly around him. And as he grew older, after speaking with some of those spirits, had maybe a few harrowing discussions, learned the ways to interact with them in a little bit more of a safer manner, a way to both speak with them and have them speak back to you, and to make them manifest for others to see as well at times. So I think he's been doing this for most of his life in one form or another.
But when he was younger, there was some harder calls.
Yeah,
I mean, safely.
That, as with any people or spirits, Haints are just as full of possibility and danger as your average person, which is to say, you tell your kids to stick away from strangers. You tell them to stick away from Haints, because at the end of the day, Haints are just strangers that are incorporeal and have strange magical powers. So in line with that, I think that while some of his childhood was fairly average in that way, just interacting with Haints from time to time, obviously there is some measure of danger there that I do think he cut close on more than one occasion.
This feels darker than that, Zedikiah. Darker than that childhood fear that sometimes spurred up in the middle of the night. Cold and vast and aching, and it is like standing at the mouth of a tunnel, a cave, and I think if you rolled a little bit harder and weren't as careful as you have been, it would have felt like free falling into that. But as it is, it feels like you reached out to something, and something mighty deep and dark is trying to answer back, and it is slick and rough like coal dust in your lungs. It's not the pretty little lady from the picture. And
yeah, I think Zedikiah almost immediately coughs up the piece of catfish and the bit of the picture that he ate. Like, he just coughs it up violently onto the ground and takes a few deep, shaky breaths. I'm starting to question this course of action. There's ain't no haint or ain't no haint I've like what I've interacted with before. That was cold and colder than normal. There was something in there that saw me, and I don't know if I liked being seen.
Well, what do we do about it? Can't just run away.
You're right. Can't just run towards either.
That mean we gonna run alongside it?
Yes. That makes so much sense.
Perpendicular? Parallel?
That's a big word. Wow.
Perhaps what we need here is some parallel thought. Is there anyone we know who could identify some of this? I can't help but think that the things we've been talking about are related. There's this woman who is mysterious, ties to people in the company town. We've got the digging they've been doing. We've got the muck out here that we've seen dripping from these creatures out in the woods. And of course, we saw it kicked up in the lake when we went down under, too. And there's something out there. It feels more ancient and powerful than anything that I've felt before.
Stump, when you went under the lake, did you bring up any of the red clay?
I did.
So I'm trained in herbalism and using and crafting magic. Is there any way I could parlay that into taking a look at this stuff and seeing if I can figure out what it is in any way? Not necessarily where it came from, but we have some idea of what that is, even if it's just loosely.
I mean, you can definitely try. I'd make that a difficulty 4.
Okay.
So 12.
And I will ease that 1. So looking for a 9 or better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's the 12.
Perfect. Yeah, Euphonia, that bucket that Stump brought up was mostly like the brown clay and dirt and silt that you'd expect in the lake, and then some of it is that red clay that has been making up the bank in the first few feet of the water. And quite honestly, you forgot at one point that lake was anything but red. And examining it, calling out to whatever higher power you feel gives you any knowledge and magic, and just your plain old everyday experience. It's not right. It's nothing natural, really. There's almost this like slick, shiny, slick, like slimy feel to this clay. And like you bring it up to your nose and it smells an awful lot like old rust and pennies, and this ain't anything green. This ain't anything natural. It's hard to say what it is, but tainted.
What you say?
Well, it smells like metal, which makes me want to point at the railroad again. But I don't know. Zedikiah, this thing that answered you, do you think that could be what dragged Mr. Beatty down?
I will color the next words that leaves my mouth with a measure of skepticism. There's so much that we merely do not understand about this situation.
Of course.
That said, I think something like it, or something under the influence of it, certainly could have a power like this. So wrong, so hungry. I certainly could go seeking after more. Certainly, my proddings did not go unnoticed. I don't know what might be operating at the behest of this force, but I do believe it is something to be feared.
Are you saying that it's eating the people? The folk?
I haven't, cut open and inspected its stomach, should it possess one, and seen for myself, but I think that, well, it's here. That I can tell you with what measure of certainty I have. What it is, what it wants, what it is capable of, those are things that we can merely speculate, but I know it is here, and I know it should be feared.
So it sounds like it still might be hungry if it's swallowing people whole, mind, body, and soul.
I fear so.
Ain't no body's been washed up, has there been, Stump?
Nope.
I wonder if the preacher is doing something to summon forth this power, or to placate it in some way, to manipulate it. If there's something we can do to mess that up.
Well, I can mess the preacher up.
Yeah.
You said that this preacher seemed to know something about the woman you saw, yes?
He was mighty shifty, and Hattie's had some insight that felt he was lying to us about it.
Tilly said he was lying. Tilly said he was evil. The whole town, that little town, is evil.
Well, it sounds like we might have a lead. I think then perhaps we lean a little bit harder on him until he breaks.
Are we gonna wait till nighttime and then sneak into his place and do some interrogating?
I don't think snaking's necessary. I think time is of the essence.
Well, I will say that man from the railroad, I could feel that he was dangerous. So we need to be real careful.
Maybe we can find him too.
Maybe we should bring the preacher to where he's less protected by the forces of the town. We could have the Henry boys run up to fetch him, tell him that we found Mr. Beatty and need the last rites performed.
That's an idea.
That's a fine
Come
idea.
out here to the lake.
I like that.
And then we'll be waiting for him, won't we?
Exactly.
Well, we'll certainly have ourselves a conversation, perhaps some light refreshments.
Biscuit, noodle, and Stump.
So I think we'll maybe send one of us to run to town and have the Henry boys go do an errand for us.
I think it might be either you, Zedikiah, or Miss Euphonia. They seem to respect you two more.
I can be fleet of foot.
No, fleet
Sounds
of
good
butt.
to me.
Make it quick.
So, Euphonia, you're gonna head into town to...
I think Zedikiah was going to go.
Yeah. Euphonia already been kicked out. Run out of town.
So, Zedikiah, you head back into Elegy proper.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we need a full scene out of this, but I think Zedikiah is just gonna basically tell the Henry boys that we've discovered Mr. Beatty and that they should run and grab the preacher from the company town, and trying to basically have a third party be the one to fetch him, so it's not obvious that we're the ones doing the requesting. So then hopefully if there was any suspicion around Hattie and Euphonia going to the company town, that we might be able to lure the preacher out under false pretenses to the lake. That's kind of the angle here.
If it was Mr. Beatty, though, wouldn't he just say, "Oh, what about the preacher at the actual town of Elegy come out?" You could just say, "Oh, one of the railway boys is being found at the lake in his last rites."
I think at this point, it's the company town is actually closer than Elegy.
Mm-hmm.
Did I make that up whole cloth, or?
The thing is, Frost Lake is giant. It is a very large lake, so there are some parts of it closer to the construction town. There are some parts of it closer to Elegy. There are some parts of it that are just sitting on the mountain.
I think my story is that we found what's left of him. It's best that he receive a quick burial. And Beatty's place, not really being part of the town proper, he was just kind of in a shack off there in the woods. Yeah.
He was one of the farmers.
Okay. So does that put him in Elegy, or does that put him...
The town of Elegy would consider him a member of the town. Farmland can be pretty big, especially if you are a cattle farmer or a animal farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say this could be a good course of action. You just have to remember that the Parker boys, Henry and Harry, they're 10.
Yep. That's perfect. I want someone who
will be believable.
Yeah, who will buy my story, do something for, if I give them a quarter or a nickel, they'll go ahead and take care of some business for me. And basically no questions asked. That's the idea. I do have fast talk as a special ability that lets me convince a creature of taking one reasonable action. That I'd be willing to spend an intellect point to kind of pursue this course of action.
Read out that ability for me.
Yeah, go ahead. It is 1 intellect point, fast talk. When speaking with an intelligent creature who can understand you and isn't hostile, you can convince that creature to take one reasonable action in the next round. A reasonable action must be agreed upon by the GM. It should not put the creature or its allies in obvious danger or be wildly out of character. So while this isn't necessarily in a direct action economy situation, I think convincing the boys to do this and hopefully trying to lure our pastor out here. I mean, we could go and greet him at his own grounds. Just kind of, I think a third space where we could all gather together.
Secondary location.
Yeah, secondary location.
Never follow a hippie.
That's right.
I'd say you could try this. The biggest problem being, again, these are 2 10-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in Elegy tend to stay away from that actual little pop-up town. So
okay.
It would be more of a role to convince them to probably disobey Honey Parker and get them to go out.
So Zedikiah, why don't you just go and speak to the pastor directly?
Yeah.
You know, I could.
You're a man of
You're
letters.
A
man. And you know, you might blend in a little bit better than Hattie or I did.
Well, I can certainly work up a document or form justifying my existence there and tell a similar yarn to the preacher to get him to come out.
Well, just that you know, you were calling on somebody in the next county and happened to cross Frost Lake, and sure enough, a body washed up on the shore and a man was dying. So you just came to the closest place. And
well, sounds convincing to me. Hopefully it'll sound convincing to the pastor.
You can tell him the man asked for the pastor himself.
Asked for him by name. Who am I to deny the request of a dying man?
Indeed.
Exactly.
So what are the 3 of you doing? Is Zedekaiah's going out?
Line and wait.
I'm going to. So I didn't pick a lot of like real magic-y stuff. But I did pick I can create a deadly poison.
Oh.
And I would like to do that while we're waiting. It doesn't say how long it takes to make it, but it lasts for an hour.
Hey, yeah, read that out for me.
Sure. It's 3 intellect points. You create 1 dose of a level 2 herbal poison that inflicts 5 points of damage. You can apply this poison to a weapon, food, or drink as part of the action of creating it. In addition to the normal options for using effort, you can choose to use effort to increase the level of the poison. Each level of effort used in this way increases the poison level by 1. If unused, it loses its potency after an hour.
Okay. I mean, you can definitely do it. Just make sure you're kind of keeping track of how long that would be. Because I would not suggest doing it as soon as Zedekaiah leaves the lake or anything.
Yeah. Give him a 20-minute lead or something.
I have a question about ciphers. Can we give them to other players to use?
As long as it doesn't go over how many ciphers they can carry. Because when you try and carry too many ciphers, some weird stuff starts happening.
I might have too many ciphers then.
Oh boy. I'm going to set up a snare trap at the edge of the woods. One that I know where it is and could lead something to if something wants to chase me again.
I would have given Zedikiah my poke bag of sweetening before he left. It's a square of blue cloth wrapped around a lightning-struck wood with salt, sugar, and cinnamon. And you slip the bag into your sock or shoe and you say, "Every higher power that should come upon me shall see me in glory." And for the next day, all their interactions with people of power, including cops, lawyers, mayors, preachers, etc., are eased by 2 steps if the cipher is level 5 or higher. So I figured that might be helpful when dealing with the pastor, preacher, father, whatever we're calling him.
For sure.
I love
So
that.
I either
happily
need
ditch one of my ciphers.
None of my
if you
ciphers are
wanna.
useful. It's that one.
They can be very useful. You can use some of those things in very weird ways.
I don't see myself dream walking anytime soon. But if you want that, the poke bag of sweetening, I'll paste
And
it
that
into
sounds
the
super useful
Discord.
right now. I'd be
That
happy
sounds very
to.
useful.
I could trade you my scent hound if you'd like. I'll throw that in our group chat. And
Is that a cipher
make-
as well? Otherwise,
It
I'll
is.
have too many. I just wanted to get rid of one, so I
Okay.
have
Oh my goodness.
Then I can also go ahead and just leave this behind.
I only have one active
Okay,
right
cool.
now, and I can
Then
carry
I'll
3.
give you that one.
Great.
I'll throw it in the chat. Scent hound. And I will take the poke bag, the sweetening.
Oh, is it a pokey? Sorry.
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
No idea.
Oh no, it's Appalachia. Whatever they say.
It's a poke bag.
Poke bag?
That's
Poke
right.
bag.
Thank you.
If you want to go ahead and use that, you can roll for the level on that to see if you get that bonuses. This is one of the few times that you roll anything other than a d20.
Roll a 5. Try 5 on a
Perfect.
d6.
Nice.
So you can lower it by 2 steps.
Excellent.
So good.
You can get
Amazing.
him to do whatever you want. Follow me to the lake, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I swear no one will poison you.
It's gonna be fine. Nothing going on out there except for Amanda Berry.
Some catfish and maybe
Ain't
a
nobody told the
six-eyed
preacher that it's
knot
gonna be
moose.
him.
Maybe, if it comes to that.
If it comes to that, we're not here to enact violence upon any man.
Pray for yourself, preacher.
Well,
may I also sorry, my apologies. May I roll a recovery to refresh my pools?
of course.
Stump, I realize now I could have made you a fishing pole.
Always next time.
My other cipher. Sorry.
You have an interesting group of ciphers, don't you?
Yeah. I got moonshine. You want to get drunk? 2 gallons.
I wouldn't
no,
be
only 1 gallon,
opposed.
I think. 1
2
gallon.
gallons? Jeez.
I think it's
We have
only
a
1.
bomb.
Let me check. No, it's 1 gallon. 1 gallon.
So you buy it by the gallon usually.
Yeah. I decided I needed an overcoat instead of 2 gallons of moonshine, so I only got 1 gallon of moonshine.
The classic debacle.
Conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not setting fire to the forest, David.
Not yet.
Oh, very, very blind, David.
Yeah. A gallon of moonshine is enough to blind 2 or 3 people for sure.
But
Yeah.
if I have some clay, I can grow an extra 4 eyes, so it should work.
Right.
You never know when you need them.
So, did you roll your for recovery?
I did. And I recovered 5, so my intellect is back up to 16 out of 19.
I would say this is probably a good point for everyone to roll recovery. You roll 1d6 plus your tier, which is 1, and it gives you those amount of points back. And you can divide them however you want amongst your pools.
I don't know if I've spent any.
I did a little bit, but I just gained it back.
You might not have if you haven't been using them to ease difficulty, and you and Euphonia have not entered combat yet.
Yeah. Mine are fine then, I guess.
That's fine. That leaves you in a better place for later because that first recovery roll is only 1 action. And from there it goes up.
Ah,
So,
1 action, 1 hour, 10 minutes, 10 hours. Gotcha.
My Hardy background
mhm.
basically gives me an extra 1. So my next one will also only take an action.
So the guys basically are at a disadvantage here because they're not Howdy or women.
Yep.
Pretty much. When the guys need to do any
Just like in
recovery,
real
it's going
life.
to take 10 minutes.
Well, I've got a one of my ciphers, the one that I didn't get rid of, is the Healing Cob. It's a doll with a dried corn cob body, arms, and legs made out of husks. And I may say a few words over it and gain the benefit of a 10-hour recovery roll as a single action.
Oh.
Wow.
So I'm holding
You
that in
got to
my
work
back
your way
pocket.
up to that, right?
For now, I'm planning not on recovering at all because, to be honest, I like being a little bit closer to the brink of death. It's a one shot. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You know.
I
It's
googled
just-
corn cob dolls, and
They are a
they
little
are haunting.
unsettling.
Yeah.
Don't look at the apple core dolls.
Oh, don't.
Well, now I gotta look.
No,
Sorry.
don't. Your dreams.
I don't want to sleep tonight.
I've not seen the corn cob doll either, so.
Oh no! That's so much worse.
They're
I gotta look
deeply
at both of
unsettling.
them
Delete.
now.
Delete.
Wow,
Cob
these
doll.
are a thing that exists in the world.
Yeah.
They do.
They're not dead. They just look like worry dolls, the corn cob ones.
The corn
Okay,
cob aren't
yeah.
too bad. They may be spooky
Yeah.
in bulk, but the
There
apple
are
core-
apple-headed dolls are in the game as well.
Can't wait.
They look funny.
Hey, it's sometimes back in these days, that's the only time kids would get a toy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. My grandmother had an apple core doll that lived in her curio cabinet with all of her little precious moments and everything else.
They
And it
just like
haunted your
little old
dreams?
It did.
people.
It did.
I don't know why you were scared of them, Cap.
You know, they're just
There are
scary
certainly
little
more
things.
scarier dolls out there. I mean, look at Chucky and Megan and
If it was like cursing and trying to kill me, that would be less scary, I think.
and spitting up apple pips. Yeah.
They're just unsettling, especially
Mhm.
because these are something your grandparents would have you be coming across them in like the dead of night, in like a china cabinet or like some hutch somewhere or a closet, and these things would be staring down at you.
Hanging
Yep.
from trees in the woods while you're running away from a witch. Usual
Yeah.
stuff.
Totally normal.
And speaking of woods, Zedikiah, you're off on your own.
Always.
Did you wait until after lunch or?
I after choking up that bite of catfish, I absolutely had a new, different bite of catfish. So I've
Just
got a
one.
little bit of catfish on the stomach, though.
Okay. So you'd be heading out a little after lunchtime, after Stump had time to clean and cook and all that fun thing. So it's probably about 4 or 5 in the afternoon at this point. Now, the sun does set mighty early in the mountains. So, as it gets a little closer to 5, you're going to see it start to get just a little bit darker. It's going to get dark fast around these parts too.
Uh-oh.
But you follow that main road, eventually you're going to hit the little railroad town. Would Euphonia have given him information on where like the preacher was?
Yes, I
living?
would have given a little sketch of that main drag to point out the right house.
So Zedikiah, tell me how you're approaching this situation.
I think he's just gonna go up to the door and knock, just loudly, obviously. He strolls into town like he has a reason to be there. Seeing as in his mind he does, and he's gonna go to the door marked there on his little map and give it a 1, 2, 3 knock.
After a few moments, a like late 30s preacher. He's still wearing like his like black shirt from sermon, and you can see like the little white collar underneath, and nice jeans, well tended work boots, And just from the look of it, he looks a little anxious as he opens up the door. He does have like sandy brown hair and everything. A few years older from that picture. Speaking of, did you bring that picture with you, or did you leave it in the care of your friends?
I'll leave that up to Euphonia. Did I give that back to you before I left, or do I still have it?
I think I kept that.
Okay.
I don't want him to smell it on you. You know what I mean?
Reasonable.
Is it?
Otherwise empty-handed, Zedikiah will throw out his hand. Afternoon there, sir. It's me, Zedikiah Bledsoe from town. What's happening by the lake? There was a man who washed up on shore there. I think we've identified him as Mr. Beatty. He coughed out a few words before, unfortunately, he did die there on the shore. He requested for you specifically to perform some last rites. I was hoping you might be willing to join me at the lake here this evening before retiring for the night. I know it is getting mighty late, but it won't sit well on my conscience having him sit out there, all night without be given a proper burial.
And he just like wipes his hands like on the seat of his pants and do forgive me, I'm doing a little bit of work around the house. You said Mr. Beatty?
That's who we believe so. I was there around the time his father died. I met him then, and I've seen him a little bit in town recently. He was off fishing by the lakes, and kids saw him there. Fell in the water, apparently. We found him on shore later. He'd sucked up a lot of that water and silt, and didn't manage to cough it all out, I fear.
I don't think we have a Mr. Beatty in the area. Are you sure you didn't get confused with the pastor out of Elegy?
Yeah.
I mean,
I understand any confusion you might have. This was just the place I was told to come to. He was asking after you something fierce, and I wouldn't sit right on my conscience to deny the needs of a dying man.
He kind of like gives you...
I'd be more than happy to give any kind of roll I need to convince you of this.
Yeah, I'd say he just kind of like gives you like an up and down and like just like head to boot. This actually begs me the question. Mm-hmm. What kind of shoes does Zedikiah wear?
Zedikiah has, those sort of alligator skin style of leather shoes. He's got what once was a fine pair of those. I think that they were originally purchased more than a decade ago. His feet, thankfully, have not changed much in size. However, he has had to reapply the sole a few times on those shoes as he has wore through them. They're patched in some places, but otherwise he keeps them nice and shiny as he can, although these ones, of course, have been in the water a bit today, so I think they're looking just a little bit muddy around the edges.
Definitely. I think I would like for you to make this a difficulty 5 roll. So a 15.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that before or after applying the 2 steps down for interacting with a preacher because of the cipher?
This does bring it down by 2, so it's a 9.
All right.
Woo!
Well, let's give it a try. Why is that now and not earlier? That's a 19. I don't know if I need that right now, but I'll take it.
That's a bonus effect, right?
Oh,
it is. You get a minor effect with that. But yeah, he kind of looks at you, and I think you like see like his forehead just kind of like smooth out just a little bit as he takes like a deep breath. I mean, far be it from me to question the Lord's work, and he like grabs a jacket from, you have to imagine like a hook on the entryway. I'm not exactly sure what I can do in regards to laying the man to rest, but I definitely, if he's asking for me. And Zedikiah, as he like does the like lean in to the house, you can see like on the wood floor, like little footstep, like dainty footsteps of like that red mud across the like heading back out.
Oh, you already been down to the lake today? I just noted the silt there on the ground.
He just kind of like turns back stairs and then just kind of swiftly shuts the door behind him. I mean, everyone's around Frost Lake for a reason. Lord knows that mud don't come off for love nor money.
Oh. Tell me about it. The missus is going to be in quite the state when she catches sight of these shoes later.
Yeah, it does look like you've roughed up that nice pair pretty well. You must have been spending a lot of time out on the lake today.
Well, digging a man a shallow grave will get all sorts of stuff over your shoes.
Are you thinking of burying him like on the lake?
Not too far from it there. Far enough that the water won't be, corrupting the graveside or anything like that, but
I just think that a man that's asking for a pastor would prefer to be buried on consecrated ground, but I mean, all your little small towns out here, I guess you do things your way.
well, I figure consecrated ground is anywhere a man of the cloth walks, so as long as you're there for it, I figure his soul will be able to rest in peace.
Well, far be it from me to question your beliefs. But if you could show me the way, Mr. Bledsoe.
More than happy to. It's right here up the road. You got a lantern or anything? It's probably gonna.
Yeah.
We'll have caught some darkness before too long. I'll take that as my small effect if he can just have a lantern here with him, because I certainly don't.
I mean, the small effect was seeing the mud prints.
Oh, ooh, all right.
I mean, I got some candles, but I'm sure you know just as well as me that oil's hard to come by these days, and I do apologize, but I can't be wasting it any more than you could.
Well, then we'll just have to make the moon our guide should the sun set too quickly here upon us. But, if we're fleet of foot, I'm sure we can handle this before it gets too dark.
All right, so Zedikiah, as the two of you leave town, I would like for you to make me a difficulty 6 roll.
Okay.
I set up Chekhov's snare. You're definitely going up in a tree for sure.
Well, quick question. Is this a specific defense task, or is this kind of more of a general?
It's more general.
Okay. Well, then a difficulty 6 is going to be rough. Let's give it a shot. No, that's sure not going to pass. I've got a 12 on the dice, which does not beat an 18 for sure.
It's a one-shot.
I mean,
XP.
as Sero suggested, would you like to use your XP? Reroll.
I think I'm going to hold it back now. I'd love to hear what the consequence is. And I do have enough XP that I could probably pay for a player intrusion if I absolutely have to save my skin. But I'd honestly just rather. I don't mind a bad thing happening here. It's about to be a dark night, you know. Things are going wrong along the roadway, then things are going wrong along the roadway.
Yeah, as the two of you leave town, you pass through like the little shopping area proper, and one of these doors of one of these businesses opens up. It's a little after hours. It's Saturday, so most people have closed up shop early. But Mr. Zedikiah, you watch as a gentleman in a gray suit, very finely tailored,
Hell yeah.
walks out holding it. It must be business papers or something in a file. Oh, Pastor Finner. Are you on your way out? And you watch the pastor's face just kind of go white, and then like this sallow sort of gray. Oh, yes, Foreman. It seems that someone is calling on the need for a pastor. Oh, yes, we'd hate. And he looks over at you, Zedikiah, for anyone to go without a man of cloth during trying times, yes?
Oh, absolutely. The situation is dire. We ought to really get this man buried before moon up.
I mean, the dead don't get any deader now.
Oh, in my experience, they certainly do.
Well, Mr.
Zedikiah Bledsoe, pleasure to. I believe we actually have perhaps made acquaintance before. I'm a lawyer here just south of town.
You reach out your hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This gentleman reaches back and shakes it, but tell me, Zedikiah, how often have you traveled by rail?
I think it was more common when he was a fair bit younger, where when he was doing his like rounding off his studies and going to do his first like get his first real job as a lawyer apprenticing at a larger firm in one of the bigger cities. I think he started off in a larger operation before moving more rural. And so I think like at that time he perhaps took the train maybe 2 or 3 times in the span of a couple of years, leaving from where he'd done his study and then going to his practice and then eventually leaving there first by train and then I think by cart and by foot off to a more remote locale where he finds himself now.
Well, I cannot say just how many people I have met in my time, but it has been countless. So, I mean, we could have crossed paths at any point, yes? Though tell me, seems to be a very well put together gentleman like yourself doing in a little backwoods town like this.
I was found myself a decade past craving some fresher air than what you find in the cities. Ended up, well, round here and never really found myself back out.
Yes, it is mighty impossible to be going backwards once we start. But let me tell you, if you'd like to do some work, we could always use some more talented hands. My office.
My talent is in plying the laws of the land and protecting the weak when they're taken advantage of. And I must say, I don't think that your domain and mine quite overlap.
Oh, Mr. Bledsoe, I think you'd be very much mistaken. My domain is plenty of places around here. And like I said, we could use gentlemen such as yourselves and your talents.
Well, if you cared to join us over by the lake, I'm sure we could use another set of hands in shifting earth if you wanted to help us with the urgent matter of a man's demise.
Now, that might not be my talents. I'm afraid I've got some work out with some of the men working late. After all, they do need an overseer. But let me tell you what. I give you my business card, and, you just let me know if the nerve ever strikes you to change locales and maybe be traveling. And he holds out, you didn't notice it in his hands before, a black-edged business card.
Well, there's no deal I can say for certain I won't consider. I'll take your card and I'll let you know.
You tuck that card away, Mr. Bledsoe?
Absolutely. Puts it in the same pocket as Bell.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need you to make me a intellect defense roll, please.
Hey, I'm not terrible at those.
This is a level 7.
I'm going to ask, ooh, that's rough. We're going to need to do something about that. I don't have any cipher to lever on it. Well, actually, wait. This is an interaction with a person of power. Can I leverage my cipher, my poke bag of sweetening, to drop that by 2 levels, by 2 steps?
That is for an interaction. This is for a defense roll.
All right. Well, it was worth a stab. Then I will happily pay from my pool to bring it down to a possible roll.
You've also gotten a +1 from JR there just this moment.
And I would be glad to spend that too to bring it down a stage. So GM permitting, if we could by pool and by redeem, bring that down 2 stages, I think. Then to a 5, 6.
I'd let you bring that down to a 15.
Okay.
You got this.
All right.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. There we go.
It's gonna happen.
Okay, that's a natural 12. I will burn an XP, and we will try again.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
You got it.
Oh, that's a 5.
Oh no!
You have 1 more XP?
Well, is it something I can continue to spend on? I do still have XP I could burn.
I mean, if you want to try and roll again.
I'll give it 1 more. I'll hold on to that last XP after it. Hopefully. No, that's a 6. We're not making this. We're not getting it today.
It hurts. It hurts so much.
What's my fate? I however, I've listened to a couple episodes, but nothing with our train foreman here, so I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, Zedikiah, as this business card is handed over to you, it feels like a weight is kind of just like settling across your body. And this man just kind of looks at you with just genial smile, and it kind of flickers around the edges, though it's hard to pay attention to this man's face, and anyways, it's like oil. It just kind of like slips from you just as soon as you think you've pinned something down. And like lead down straight to your feet. Well, Mr. Bledsoe, I think you don't really need to be worrying about what's going on tonight. Pastor Finner here will make sure to take care of you. Why don't you head him on up to the lake, Pastor? And you can kind of see, like, out of the corner of your eye, the preacher is kind of like shaking, and he just gives like a really jerky nod. And well, suddenly, Zedikiah, you are going in the opposite direction.
I just find my feet moving on their own.
Yep.
Into the town, then, or not towards the lake?
No, again, the lake is
or another
big.
part of the lake.
It's the direction that Hattie was heading earlier. Not that you would know, but instead of heading south back towards the main road, you are now heading north in a very jerky, almost puppeted walk out towards like the well-worn like road, like the little path that's been set by the trucks driving through out to where like construction starting.
Is Pastor Finner going with me, or is he heading along the main road?
No, he's headed with you. Okay. A little bit farther ahead, though you do like see him look back on occasion, and still just that very shallow, pale, chalky gray. He's like, man is terrified, to say the least.
This might come as a shock, considering I was supposed to be leading our way. But where are we going? We're going somewhere, yes?
We go where the foreman tells us always. And I think that's where we had cut back to the other three.
You gonna walk into the lake and die?
It's been a pleasure.
Oof.
So we're drinking.
Yeah, what are the three of y'all up to as you wait?
Well, if it's been about 20 minutes, I'm going to make that poison.
20 minutes and then some.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think he's not coming back.
I'm worried about it too.
Feller probably just got lost in the woods.
It is starting to hit that 5 o'clock, so shadows are starting to lengthen. The sky's turning that gorgeous orange pink of the sunset.
What do you say, y'all? Do we follow after him?
Yeah, I think we go talk to your suited fella.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But I guess here we go.
Yep, let me get my lantern set up so we don't get lost in the dark.
Did you take down your snare?
No. That's there to stay. That could catch dinner.
That's right. We could eat real good.
But I do also have a... What did I just say? Lantern, so I'm going to get that lit. And lead us, I suppose, to wherever they saw the gray-suited man last.
Yeah, it's easy enough to kind of make your way there, though as everything grows a little bit darker, the only thing really showing is Stump's lantern and
Stump's lantern. Sounds like a bar.
Hydrate.
one
I'm good
day.
at that.
Hydrate.
Hydrate. Moonshine.
Water check.
You just want to see my lips.
You gotta pay extra for that now.
Yeah.
Those are sacred lips.
Clip it. Clip it.
Now they are quite moist and full of fake hair, but
So they gotta pay extra. You've already paid the price to put
That's
that
true.
thing on. But at this time of the evening, there's no one on this main road, and shadows are lengthening, and it's been a long time since any of the three of y'all heard bird song. So the evening is kind of just pinpointed with cicadas buzzing and the occasional just like snap and crack off in the woods of what has to be another animal. Just based on where you're at, it's not uncommon. There's no human interference as the three of you walk.
Hop,
so
skip,
where'd you say
skip.
you last saw him?
Well, it was about a block away from the pastor's house.
Okay.
Oh, I did see a gray suit on the way out to the where they're working on the railroad.
Okay, let's say it that way. Zedikiah! Zedikiah!
Are you doing that in the little town proper, or wait until you get out on that little side road that the workers take?
Both.
Oh my god.
All of it.
Okay.
We're
I
gonna
lost my little
die.
fast talking friend.
I think I'd
Yeah, well,
smack a hand over his whiskered mouth.
Zedikiah!
In a minute.
If y'all are making this much noise,
I'm trying to
Yeah.
stop
I'd
him.
like for all three of you to roll a level 5 for me. 15.
Heather has 2 plus 1s.
You can use 1.
And
Is it
and
just
I
a-
have a -1, so I think it's even harder for me.
Is it just a check, or is it a defense?
It's not a defense.
Okay. Mm-mm.
So for
3.
Hattie, it'd be 18.
I didn't make it. I got 14.
I got a 2.
So as far as the three of y'all can tell, it's just mighty quiet this time of night. Maybe there's not really any nightlife to speak of. People get tired, people go home, start supper, and go to bed. Maybe you see like a curtain or two kind of move as the three of you walk through. Just some nosy neighbor trying to see what all these ne'er-do-wells are up to, but quiet.
Too quiet.
I can start screaming again if you want.
Well, no, I don't want that either.
Okay.
We don't see anybody out and about.
Not that you can tell. It's not like you've really ever been out here for a need before today, so this
Yeah.
could just be what it is like on a Saturday night. There's not really a dance hall or anything.
Fair enough. Then I reckon we'll just jet through as fast as we can, trying to go toward where Hattie saw him last.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So you start up that little worn dirt path. The Euphonia is the one that had been the farthest up this way.
Follow the skip marks.
And like the canopy of trees is just kind of like closing up on top of you, and it's just getting darker. And your lantern, once again, Stump, probably the only thing with any illumination, and it's precious with just how much the dark starts to kind of encroach. The moon kind of hits between some boughs of the trees and bright enough to at least see a few steps in front of you, but it's not a full moon. It's just barely like a waxen crescent. And Hattie, I'd like for you to make me a roll. Just a 12, just a 5.
That's
5
easy.
on
You
the.
got that.
I did. Okay.
No, 15.
Just a 15.
You
I
got
rolled
it.
a 12 again. If it had been a
Nice.
12, I would have been fine.
I think it takes you probably a little while to notice, but out to your left, deeper into the forest, you start to see like a pretty bright white light. And it like it looks like it's kind of just moving past the trees in the distance, and some moments it seems to like disappear, and some it seems to like grow and stretch. And it's not a storm, but you've seen like ball lightning before, and it looks maybe a little similar.
Ain't that curious?
Yeah, that look a little bit like bow lightning to either of you.
I don't know what that is.
Little round ball of light.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Context clues, huh?
It's in the name.
Yeah, okay. Should I hit it with something?
I mean, you could certainly try.
Well, all right.
You want me to hold the lantern?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Point it at that thing. I'm gonna find a big rock. I find a baseball-sized rock, hopefully, and I'm gonna eat it.
Stump, you're the one that has the
Yeah.
inability for magic, right?
Uh-oh.
No. Wait. Yeah. Crafting, understanding, and using magic.
Okay.
I ain't using it. I'm hitting the rock.
I'm also unable.
With our powers combined.
But you have a little extra power behind you, though, Hattie.
Well, yeah, I talk to the voices. I got my little antenna hat on. Antler hat.
Mm-hmm.
Intentler.
And Euphonia does have her own abilities with magic and a little bit of skill with it. And because it's Stump that doesn't hear this.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And Euphonia, maybe you're just hanging around with Hattie for far too long. But you both, Hattie, it's a new voice. You both hear this like gentle, soft voice. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Howdy?
What you need?
What?
I'm right here.
I
You didn't
I
hear
wasn't
that?
talking to you. I was talking to the voice.
I don't hear
I
no voice.
I heard it too, Hattie.
Hello? Do you have a name? Or you want me to make one up for you? I'm good at coming up with names for the voices.
Is that Miss Finner?
Why don't you roll me just a level 3 Euphonia? I'd say you could even bring it down a little bit for understanding magic.
You also have a +1
Okay.
from the audience. Well, actually from David.
Yeah.
If you want to use it on this, you can, but it's only a.
No. We're gonna call that what it is. So it's a 9 that I need.
It's a 9, but you can bring it down with your understanding magic to a 6.
12. We're good.
Whoa.
It does not feel like a human spirit. It feels not quite natural, not quite green, but maybe something adjacent.
What y'all hearing?
Did it respond to either of our questions? Or was it just the one thing that we heard?
After a minute, it seems to kind of actually come a little bit closer. And maybe it's not quite like what seeing a star up close would be, but it's dazzling and brilliant, and it looks like light, except it also there is some level of form to it. Like as it moves, this light just kind of like extends, not visibly, like not audibly like crackling, but kind of spreading and contracting how lightning does. And it's observing the two of you, mostly because Stump hasn't noticed it, so it hasn't quite noticed him.
You said it was dazzling. Are we entranced by it in any way? Or just the sheer magic of it is so impressive?
There's a common word called awesome, and there is the word awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not like it is so overcoming that you are like entranced in place, but the two of you look at this thing, and in your brains it's like not even this creature, but your mind says back to you like safe, run, retreat, beloved. And it is like standing in front of a force of nature. It just says help. Help you?
Can you help us?
Have you seen a not quite fancy man with muddy feet? Goes by the name Zedikiah. Well, I'm gonna call you Velma.
It's like an echo, like as it says in your heads, like man, 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 man.
I picture Zedikiah as clearly as I can.
And it doesn't quite have like a face. There's like a dark part of it that just looks like might be like we're on a humanoid, there would be a face. And so there's no eyes, but I think you feel it just kind of observing you, Euphonia.
Am I seeing it too, or just hearing the voice and
Yeah.
seeing light? Okay.
No, you're seeing it. Like even Stump can see it, but it doesn't look like as much of a person. So much again, like as that flash of ball lightning.
She ain't got no face, Miss Euphonia.
We're looking for our friend, and we're afraid he's in danger. Was there anybody who came through here?
Yeah, he went looking for Pastor Finner.
Help, man.
Help. Yes, sir. Stump, are you seeing this? It's the 1st time I see your voice.
I'm seeing you two talk to something, but I ain't hearing nothing in return.
Probably because you're a man folk.
Yeah, probably. Also, I got my AirPods in. Let me take those out real quick. Hold on. Maybe I can hear it now.
Maybe that'll do it.
What are AirPods? What are you doing putting pea pods in your ear?
There it is.
Well,
Euphonia, I'd say with your last roll, just to kind of understand magic, like there are all sorts of beings in this world, and whilst there are plenty that are benevolent, it's rare that someone does anything for free.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just ask. How can we help you help us to help our friend?
Got some moonshine if you want some. A little less than a gallon now.
I think it's got enough shine.
No help. Oh.
She's saying we don't need a help, or Tilly, I need some help trying to talk this faceless voice woman, Velma. Tilly?
It is a little hard to hear anything Tilly has to say at the moment. It's not like the same feeling you had in town and encountering that man, but it's just overwhelming. Like it's hard to think around this kind of thing, to do more than acknowledge it.
Clearly not really saying much.
There's a lot of that going around. Can we give you something? Is there something you need?
Push Stump forward.
What you doing?
Do you want to eat our friend?
I'm all gristle.
Define eat.
It seems it's not simplistic, but the way it communicates is. And you just hear again, no help, but then oh.
You want an O?
We'll owe you for helping.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. Please help.
And this light just kind of like starts to fade.
Oh, you got it. Good job.
And just kind of like it seems to like back away like into like a further like copse of trees and just kind of almost flickers out. You're not left with like a bad feeling.
Do I get the feeling that we need to follow it? Like it's leading us somewhere?
I'd say if anything, you feel like the dead certainty of like a bargain struck.
Ominous.
But again, it doesn't necessarily feel bad so much as like the weight of a debt like just like hangs from your shoulders.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
At the same time that you might owe something in the future, you might not necessarily get exactly what you need at the moment.
Okay.
Things kind of operate on their own timeline.
Yeah.
So we find his dead
so
body.
yeah. So I guess we push forward. Can I Is there anything around that indicates that there are people up this way, let alone Zedikiah?
The fact that there is a trail and tracks means that there is still work further on.
Okay.
You've not like hit like any dead road yet.
We hear
Okay.
anything? I mean, other than the cicadas and the lady we just talked to, and
Are you like stopping and being quiet to do this, or
hell no.
We're skipping.
We can't do that. We gotta rush around and make noise.
I don't think there's any noise noticeable to you yet.
Okay.
Like you're still a little bit farther off from where construction was happening.
Miss Euphonia, do you think we should hurry? Do you think we should follow
Yeah.
her or keep on the road?
I think we keep on the road. I don't I know that she heard me and I know she's going to do something, but I don't know what exactly.
When very
So
talkative.
yeah.
All right.
But
Should
I
we?
think we need to push on.
All right.
Just like that.
Zedikiah.
Oh.
It's not the most comfortable walk, Because usually you would know when your body is kind of pushing a limit and when you need to slow down, or if like a rock gets in your shoe and you stop to kind of remove it, or any of those kind of things. But you're not in charge of your body right now, and you are just walking onwards. And the pastor is again a few steps ahead of you, and you think you must have passed to something at some point, and it's hard when you can only really see ahead of you and out of your periphery, and it's getting late. The mountain is so close at this point that it kind of even obscures the moon, and you think you can hear water off to the side, and over the breeze and all of that, you think you can hear hammering, pounding something, the sound of metal on stone, maybe. And there's no light. The pastor did not bring one. You have no way to see in the dark. But your body continues to move like it knows where it's going. And you feel that aching, cold darkness kind of start to creep up at the edges. Not like before, when something definitely noticed you because of all of the noticing you were forcing on yourself. But like how an ant crawls around a dog, that you know there's something much bigger ahead. And that chill just kind of settles bone deep. And then for a moment, it is like you are struck by lightning. And I would like for you to make an intellect defense roll again. This one would be at a 16 normally. I'm sorry, a 15.
For the level, or is it a level 5 and I roll a 15?
It's a level 5.
Okay. I was like, a level 15?
No, it only goes up to 10.
Okay.
Roll a 45, please.
Casual. We'll just take it. We'll take it flat. That's a 3. That sure is a 3 on the dice. I have one final XP. Do I want to spend it?
Yes.
I'll go. You know what? We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a no. I'm gonna save it.
Oh,
I'm gonna save it.
Wow.
No. I know.
Can you
I just
ask
juked
us
the audience.
if you're gonna die or if you should?
No, well, because here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I have that XP, if I die, I am absolutely doing a player intrusion where I am a ghost, and I may be useless, but I am around.
Sure.
So that's my backup. I got to hold on to that XP as my emergency Zedikiah is a ghost plan.
Yes, I love it. Foolproof.
You can get with faceless ghost lady.
So tell me, I have a 3 to a 15 intelligence defense roll. What happens to me?
Again, it feels like lightning just like shooting down your body, and like it just kind of dissipates, and for a moment you think things might be different, and instead you just keep walking, and that darkness is still just kind of hanging on the edge. And you, up ahead, Zedikiah, you see like the edge of the mountains. And did you see ghosts without having to call them?
Yeah, originally. It was only later, as he like spoke with the ghosts, that he learned how to address them and like actually bring them forth as well. Bid them hello and bid them goodbye.
What you see up ahead doesn't. It looks like what you've known of spirits, misty and probably glowing a little bit. Except it looks like these spirits are kind of laying over top of forms. Like an inch above a body kind of thing. And these figures are glowing like spirits. Except they are not spirits. They are not people, even. They look malformed and very, very crude, like plans for what maybe a person would look like. They look, as far as you can see, like they have been made out of mud and stone, and you're not quite sure what else sinew maybe. And they are working into the mountains. And I mean, tunnels don't really build themselves, and it looks darker than it should around them, if that is at all possible. Like darker than black, darker than night, as like they cut into the mountains. And I feel like that's where we're going to swap back to the other three.
I think at this point, Euphonia has started, like, if not full out running, a light jog, feeling a sense of desperation.
With you.
Definitely. And Hattie is still hopping.
Skipping.
Or does she
Hattie
ever
hops.
give up and start running?
It's double time skipping. She almost looks like she's actually skipping.
I'd say give all three of you can give me a task difficulty 2. Just for trying to make your way in the night.
Big ol' 4.
Go 5.
14.
You gotta die.
Well, Stump is the one holding the lantern, to be very fair.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
So true.
He has
Logical.
the most concentrated amount of light. And Hattie, you're skipping get you somewhere. It's just not getting you anywhere quick. And it would be nice if you went a little bit faster, but Euphonia's kind of sliding in the dirt and occasional like lurch forward as she almost trips over something kind of shows how hard even that might be, especially as Stump gets a little bit of a lead on you. Stump, are you waiting for everyone or?
Yeah. I'm not gonna run ahead. They can talk to ghosts. I cannot. I'll slow down. Don't want anyone getting lost.
Yeah, it'd be very easy to get lost out here.
I had to quit that tomfoolery.
Okay, Stump.
You know how to run? Okay, good. You know how to run. I was worried.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, the three of you aren't making like running time, but as you kind of speed up, it's easier to start hearing noise. Like the breeze kind of picks up like it will on the banks of any lake. So that is starting to get a little more prevalent. So you know you're getting closer to the water and the sound of the water itself. And you start to hear the sounds of work. And as far as you know, there's no man in Elegy or anywhere around here that would make any sort of risk working at night like this.
Yeah.
There's no man in Elegy or anywhere around here that would risk working at night like this.
I think
It's
you're right,
foolishness.
Stump.
Yeah. Just came to me.
But it would mostly be Euphonia that would see this because the Hattie, Stump, you're not really the magic sort of folk, and it's a little confusing to you, especially when there's no voices tied to this. You can make out shadows working in the distance, but Euphonia, these are lit up for you. Like it is almost like they have a light tied to their head as you see bodies working. These crude, not human, not quite anything natural bodies of mud and stone and spirit and sinew and everything that takes a person.
I told y'all that man. Oh, this is evil work. Oh.
What's going on?
That's not that's unnatural. Those aren't men up there working. They're using something to lay this track and oh.
Should we be calling for Zedikiah right now?
We definitely need to find him.
Stump, you can start hollering now.
I can do that. Are these are physical or non-physical? Can I see these things?
They're physical. It's to you and to Hattie, they look like moving dolls almost, like
golems.
very
I hate that.
crude golems.
Yeah.
It's
How about
to
this?
Euphonia, she can see like the spirits Like, if you really wanted to get close, you could probably pick out names and faces if you stared hard enough.
Hattie, hold this lantern for me. I'm gonna get to chopping these things.
Oh,
Euphonia, you look for Zedikiah.
I mean, I can help attack. I got my pickaxe.
That is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my entire life, Hattie.
Thank you.
Let's see what you can do. Skip and pickaxe. Deadly combo. You're playing Fortnite out here.
Oh man.
I mean, I think we're gonna start chopping these things. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, y'all too. Well, Euphonia, are you helping them? Or
No, I'm. That is not my particular forte. So I will continue looking for Zedikiah.
great. I need Hattie and Stump to roll for initiative for me.
Whoa. There's initiative.
Yeah.
Is that just a D20? Ooh, 16.
4. My dice only go to 10.
He's just too busy watching and admiring.
Well, Hattie,
I've never seen a woman wield a pickaxe like that before in my whole life.
You are first, kind of in the turn order per se. You have you've rolled higher than their
Okay.
target number, and Stump has not. So, like, you're just taking a pickaxe to these things, or you doing anything else?
I mean, he said pickaxe. That's what I'm gonna do. He said to hit them, so I will hit them with my pickaxe.
Okay. So I will need you to roll to hit. So that's the D20, your D20 again. You're just trying to hit their.
I rolled a 13.
That's good because that's over their target number. So, how much damage does your pickaxe use?
4. Not much.
And that's okay.
Could be. I have no idea.
Yeah, Hattie, as you like land a blow into like the nearest one of these to you, so I'm gonna say right here, there's probably about 3 in this little cluster. Like your axe definitely makes like some dent and damage to these things. Maybe not as much as you'd hope, though. But it does turn and look at you.
I look back.
And it doesn't have a face. It just kind of has like this blank, featureless clump of mud that just kind of, you can like see in like the faint illumination you have where it just kind of like drips down off of like what should be a chin.
It's a clay man. Either that or it's related to Velma.
But
that
it just
could be
like
nothing for long.
It has like a sledgehammer that it has been using to do some damage into this, and it's in like these big clumsy moves. It just kind of like hits it towards your direction. So I'd want you to roll. You can either do a speed defense or a might defense.
I don't have any defense things, so is it just regular might and regular speed for me?
Basically, do you have an edge in either? That's what you're gonna want to use.
Edge and might.
Because if you take an edge and might, you can bring it down.
Okay.
Like, so you're gonna need to make a might defense roll of a level 3, so a 9. But with bringing that down, you're going to need to at least do a 6.
Got this.
Got a 2.
I'm just gonna be quiet over here.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Not gonna say anything.
Maybe Sero
Say
just
you
needs a new
don't got
D20.
this.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing. But you are going to... Do you have any armor?
No.
So you're going to take 4 points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to first take it from your might pool.
Okay. So bye-bye 4 points from might.
Yes.
Owie.
We'll worry about what happens when you run out of might later.
Okay.
So with Stump just watching, you said? Or
Me? No, I'm swinging.
Okay. Because again, there's 3 of these things, but if you are
Not for
making
long.
like a move to hit into one, like another one that had been working kind of like actually drops the tool it was using and just like turns. It doesn't have like a lot of reach on it, but you're gonna need to make either a might or a speed defense roll.
I've got edge in both, so let's call it Matt. That's a 10.
Perfect. So you are kind of able to get out of reach, like as it like makes this like sweeping movement, and you can see like what this rough hand is. It's like got some really nasty looking sharp stones on the end of it.
I'm gonna cut that thing off. Can I swing at it?
There's one more.
No,
of
come
these
on.
things.
Yeah.
Which one of you is the more threatening one at the moment?
Me.
Okay.
I'm being loud. I'm being big and loud.
Because the one not engaged with Hattie would probably go after the biggest threat.
Come on.
Just because these are simple creatures that are just kind of being powered along.
Full of catfish and vinegar. Let's go.
It just kind of moves to kind of like crush you with both hands, like down over your head as it like lurks over the railroad tracks. So you need to make that same roll for me, please. Might or speed.
17. Try harder, Gumby.
All right.
Gumby.
Thankfully, you're able to kind of see these with a little bit more light on you, Stump. As you can just able to get out of the way. And you can definitely make an attack into one of these if you'd like.
I'd love to. Thank you so much.
Only one? Doesn't he have multi?
You get one action.
I rolled a 19. I'm sure that's pretty good.
That is very good because as a 19 when you're using in combat, you get an extra 3 points of damage. So what is
That's
your
10.
damage normally?
That's 10 all day.
Wow.
7 is my base.
And you can see, like, where are you hitting into this thing?
I think it's like a cross chop in the middle, just to bisect it, Darth Maul style.
And I'd say even like one of its arms, you managed to like get just right at the juncture, and it kind of just like slops off into like this wet thump. And as you like go into its torso, you just like cleave like a divot into it. And it's kind of hanging on for the most part.
Love it.
Hattie?
I guess I'll try again. The one at me.
Do you have any abilities you could use? Or anything with any of your ciphers, or if you want to call out or anything like that, you can do that instead of attacking. Or if you just want to hit it, that's fine too.
I don't really have anything other than endurance, but I don't think that really applies here. Could have skipped faster though.
You might not always have an action that works.
Yeah,
You
no,
can
I
still
don't
just
think.
attack it.
I don't think I have an action that works. Just attack it and hope I don't die. I rolled a 14.
That's good. That hits.
It's another 4 damage.
Which does do some damage. Not the damage it needs to take it out, but I'd think even you managed to like take one out at the like elbow, but it's unfortunately not the hand that has the sledgehammer. In fact, that sledgehammer is coming back around and trying to put a little bit more dents into you.
Dodge.
So I need you to make that defense roll.
I got a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and take another 4 points of damage.
I might go sit the next one out. I think it's doing more damage to me than I am to it.
Stump, you still have the focus of these other two. Closer to 1.5, but still. The first one, which is the one that you haven't put any damage into, like, as you're focused on the other one, tries to like come around as lumpy and clumsy as it is behind you, going like for your back. So if you want to make that defense roll.
18.
Perfect.
Finally, the dice are coming in when I need them.
They've been waiting.
I'm using a different dice every roll to try and mitigate some of this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
You always just like
Never
sit
let
it
him
at one.
come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're able to kind of get away. To like damage at your back though, would it kind of, or are you trying to like move forward into this other thing, you'd say, or just trying to like get to the side?
Honestly, I think if I'm just full on might, if he's using his hands, I'm just taking these hits. I'm thick. I got a thick jacket on. I'm a thick boy.
And
soaking them.
Yeah, for the most part, like you are just kind of like soaking up this damage. To be very fair, it hasn't got like any of its sharp bits into you, and you're made of just a little bit of a hardier stuff than Hattie is.
Different.
So as you like take this hit to your back, it like jerk forward a little bit. The one that is in front of you that you have been hacking at moves to like almost kind of like lineman pummel you, like charge into your force section.
They call me Stump because I'm sturdy like a tree. Do your best.
And you'll have to make that defense roll again, please.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. It probably is going to be good again. It's a 10. Shit.
No, that's fine. That's still over it. These things, they're not like a high level. They're
they're mudmen, yeah. I get it. I shouldn't feel as proud as I am right
now. No, it's good. I'm saying that thankfully they're not like a super high level or anything. Like some things are. But you just kind of managed to stay sturdy through all of this, like the tree you were named for. And it doesn't seem to kind of move you. In fact, you're almost sandwiched between these two things at this point.
Perfect.
What do you want to do to them?
Break them.
So
the
what's your
one
attack?
that I had, the half left, I will axe.
Yes.
Finish the job. That's a 3.
Uh-oh.
I have 1 experience. I'm re-rolling.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Also, you've
And
got a +1 from JR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. I guess I should use that, huh? Better roll. That's a 3 again.
Even with a difficulty eased.
It's fate.
Wow.
You do, unfortunately, like, hit into, like, a part of them that doesn't seem to, like, be taking any damage.
Damn.
And Hattie.
I run away.
Okay.
Smart.
Go ahead and roll a speed defense roll for me. This one's going to be at a level 5. 15.
I rolled a 10.
Well, you're running away, but it's following you.
Oh no! Go away! Get help!
Euphonia, this fight is not quiet, so I just kind of want to get your feelings on.
Well, I was gonna ask how far I had made it departing to go look for Zedikiah. If I hear the battle take a turn, I guess I'll turn around and go back. I am not at all equipped for fighting inhuman enemies. But I'll go help. I can go distract something maybe.
You can. You also, like, it's dark, so I'm gonna have you still make a level 4
Okay.
roll for me.
Whew, I thought that was a 1. It was a 7.
Whew.
Ooh. So it's bad, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Not as bad as it could be. So there's just a lot of noise going on behind you, and maybe that's what's kind of catching your attention most, especially without the light.
Help you
Without the light, it's a little hard to see. I mean, you can tell more of these things are ahead along the line. You can hear the lake ahead. It's hard to make out anything more than shapes, and if there are shapes that aren't, like, glowing, yeah, one of them could definitely be Zedikiah. One of it could also actually be a real tree stump.
Do I well, no, I don't get anything. I will stop myself, turn around, and go back the way I just came. Because I'm not going to be able to get much further than this without Stump's lantern, and I'd rather have us all together anyway. So, that is what I am doing.
Well, you come back to see Hattie running towards you, and behind her, one of these glowing creatures. I don't think the spirit looks familiar to you necessarily.
Yeah. Can I? Oh boy. Can I just go and get in between them?
I mean, if you want to, you can.
Yeah. That's what I will do.
So you're using kind of your action for
to
jumping in on
make the
this turn.
movement. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to go ahead and roll for initiative for me then to join this fight.
3.
Half the
Great.
stump.
Well, it's how fighting kind of works. There's not like a specific turn order so much as the people that go before the monster and the people that go after the monster.
Yeah.
So it could be either Stump or Euphonia's turn after the monsters go. But since this is after Hattie's turn, this monster that is focused on Hattie, like, as Euphonia jumps in between them, is going to, like, in its simple way, go for Euphonia instead with the sledgehammer, just like over its head, bringing it down. You want to roll that defense roll for me, please?
Yeah. So I'm trained in might defense tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So that eases it one step, right?
Yes.
So what am I trying to hit?
So just roll for me.
It's a 10.
Yes.
Great.
So you manage to kind of get your way out from this thing. And Hattie is far enough away that it can't really make any attacks onto her. Not that it's gone, but the other two that are currently having a party over with Stump.
Stump party.
Yes. So Stump, if you want to make a might defense roll for me.
Sure. 16.
Perfect.
I am defensive.
Yes. At least, like, as these things are kind of like trying at this point, because you are kind of stuck, they're just trying to kind of like crush you.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully they're not using enough force yet. But it's going to be like the same thing from this other monster. So the same
Another
might
roll?
defense roll. Yep.
That one's 6.
Oof.
That one
was
does
much.
hit. So you're going to take another 4 might damage.
Okay.
As I'd say probably like the sharper bits of this one kind of
Finally
hit
got in
into
there.
you. Yeah, they're starting to make some purchase for your clothes. So what are you wanting to do?
I'm not stopping till the tree's chopped down.
So still the same one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
12?
Yes.
Does that hit?
It does.
Oh!
So like you do manage to like, there's not really arteries in this thing, but you manage to kind of get into what should be one. And it just kind of drops and just kind of like deforms.
Perfect.
And you don't see this. And I think the other two are a little too busy, even if Euphonia would be the only one to like see that glow just dim. Not completely gone, just dimmed out. So you're left with one on you, Stump, and then the others that the girls have on them.
Perfect.
Hattie, Euphonia has gotten in between and taken like the opportunity from this thing. What are you doing? Are you still running?
Can I make sure Euphonia is between us, so she's kind of in a place of protective shielding me? But can I pull out one of my ciphers? It's called Elm Child, and on a chunk of elm tree, write the word bear and turn it into a person-sized bear that can make attacks and perform actions to the best of its abilities, lasts for an hour per cipher level. Commanding is not an action, not an action. It's sentient, but it might resist commands or take its own actions, but it can't harm me or my allies.
Love it.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if
And
you want to
it
go ahead and roll
says-
for the cipher level, which is a d6.
And it also says any such tasks against the elm child are eased by 2 steps. I
Mhm.
should have done this earlier.
Which means it's easier to hit it.
5.
Perfect. Well, this
Okay.
thing would last 5 hours if you can make it, if you can keep it through that.
Suddenly beer. I summon you.
Yes.
Pirachu.
Yeah, no, you managed to like kind of hide behind Euphonia and scratch this in, and I'm not exactly sure where you would have gotten this thing, Hattie, but like as you finish like scratching in the word, this like green light just kind of seeps out of it, and it expands like around this like hunk of wood, and it is this light just kind of like manifests and into this like dark green, like just grit. Not this is Tennessee, so it wouldn't necessarily be a grizzly so much as like a big black bear, but it's still like head and shoulders over you and Euphonia. And it is there, and it like sniffs at both of you and like sniffs at the wind. And
That one.
is that what your command is, to fight it?
Yes. Destroy. Slash. Gnarl. Gnash.
So I'm not supposed to be rolling dice with this kind of thing. And because this is a level 5 creature, it has its own like set of movements. I'm gonna let it go with you on your action though. And it just kind of makes a swipe into this mud muck monster. And you can like hear like claws against it. It must have like caught onto like some rock somewhere in this creature's like body. And you just watch as it like takes a hunk out of it.
Good elm bear.
Of
Yes,
course,
dude.
this thing does slap back. This monster does like go after the bear, which again, because it's a simple thing, has its focus. And doesn't really do much to the bear. But like it seems to at least have its focus for the moment. The one on Stump though is the one that damaged you the last round. So it's just gonna like try and like wrap around you like a bear hug itself and just kind of like squeeze you tighter. So you'll need to make that might defense roll.
10.
Yes, you're good.
Whew.
So wherever it like shifted as you were like fighting against it, so it didn't get like into the same soft spaces. But what are you doing? Unless
That was Thorn to do.
Euphonia would like to go first.
I'll let Stump go first.
It's a swing. That's also a 10. Not going to do it, I don't think. Oh, it's going to do it.
Yeah.
Ah, I keep surprising myself.
How much damage does that do? Again?
7.
Perfect.
Man.
I'll keep track of that.
Big axe. It's called a massive axe.
Love to see it.
But Euphonia.
Yeah.
You see this bear manifest.
Yeah. Seems to be on our side. Process that later. I mean, I guess I'd look at Hattie and say, are we running?
I mean, Miss Euphonia, it might be a good idea, but you have to convince Stump.
I'll go over to where Stump is engaged and push on the thing to try and help Stump on his next attack.
Okay, you're specifically helping Stump then?
Yeah.
You can't.
No, this just means that we get back to your turn, that something different happens. Because there is a help roll.
Yeah, but it can't be used on me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, could it not? Jeez. Okay.
But you wouldn't know that, so.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, Euphonia, if you'd like to make an attack into it to shove it, it would just be a might roll.
Yeah, I'll do that. 15.
That's good.
Huge.
That is good.
It's not going to make like a lot of damage, but at least that's at least 1 point of damage into it. You probably like knock some stuff free as you like shove it. But we are sitting at Hattie. Your bear will follow your commands as long as it can stay up.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you doing?
Can I do recovery?
You can definitely do it. That's your action, though.
Yep. It says for the arm child that I do not need to take an action to command it, so I'll just tell it to keep.
Yeah, no, the
keep
elm child is
attacking.
doing its thing. I'm just saying recovery for you though is your action.
Yeah.
So that's that 1d6 plus your level.
Ooh, I rolled a 6 in total.
So you have 7 points. You can divide those
Six
up
total
wherever.
with the 1 point. 1d6 plus 1. Yeah. I'll put it
divide
all
those up into whatever
might.
pool.
I'll put it all in might.
Smart. So yeah, this thing, like the bear like cleaves into it again, and it takes a little more damage, but not quite enough to like take it out. But it is like keeping this thing's focus at the very least and keeping it away from the rest of your party, which would lead us back to Euphonia and Stump.
Chop. It's the last one, right?
You hit it, yeah.
Let's see. 19.
Yes,
Good all
and
19.
you get that extra 3 points of damage as well. Not that you needed it, but it is enough to just kind of, this thing again falls back like this wet slump. Euphonia, this time you are able to see like as this thing kind of dissolves back into just a pile of mud and rocks, that spiritual like energy doesn't fade away. It just kind of is neutral.
We won.
Yeah, great. Let's get out of here. Oh, I've totally lost my character voice and went, let's get out of here. And I guess pick up the lantern. I guess Stump wasn't holding it. And
Should we run my beer?
Start running. It's very
what? Oh my god.
Yeah, like after a few more moments, the bear Nate is able to like take this one out as well. And just kind of like stops and looks back up at you.
I'll be honest, I haven't the foggiest idea what's going on.
This is my bear. He's gonna be around for a few hours, so he's gonna come with us. Is that all right?
Can your bear find Zedikiah?
I don't know. Do we have anything of Zedekiah's that he can sniff? Is he like a dog?
Didn't Zedikiah give you something?
Bears.
There is a cipher someone has.
Yeah, someone got Zedekiah's
Yeah.
thing.
Now that we have a second, I'll use the red hound.
Scent hound.
That's what it was called. Scent hound, yes. And I will use that. It is a 1d6. Oh, just one. Okay.
That's still 5 hours.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. So I pull out this pouch and I realized earlier I still don't look quite like myself. So on this strange face, I pull out this like oily mixture and just rub it over my eyes. And for 5 hours per cipher level, you can see in the dark as if it were daylight and have an asset in all perception tasks, including those involving smell and taste. So I've turned myself into a tracker in the truest sense of the word.
Might even need a bear.
I mean,
yeah, no.
Help with fighting.
Euphonia kind of like just rubs this like slick oil and ash across her face, which, for the record, Stump, Euphonia's had like a different face for a few hours.
Yep.
There was no explaining that, but it was definitely her.
Sounds the same.
Yeah.
Faces like, come and go, you know.
Euphonia, that you like spread this around and like you blink a few times and it's just kind of like the world lights up around you. Like it is like high noon and
it's high noon.
This is amazing.
You can see like down the stretch of like clearing just more of these creatures. Like you can see them and as like the path like turns, you can see even more like start to like they are hitting into the mountain. And as they are hitting into like this great mountain that just kind of looms over you, you can see like when they hit and they pull back with their axes and their pickaxes and everything, like it's like a spurt of wet fluid or something like comes with them. And you like
Sero, relax. Get your laugh out, Sero. Get it out.
You started it.
Like you can see like as they like hammer into this thing. Like it is like it would look like crude oil almost if it didn't have like this red tint to it. In fact, like as you like look down and this dirt, some places mud as it like kind of makes its way down towards the lake, is just dark red. Like not even like the clay red, but it is something like tar-like almost and sticky and coagulated as it mixes with like the dirt and the mud.
They're killing this whole mountain and using the souls of the people who live here to fuel it. We've got to find Zedikiah. Let's go now. And takes off running.
Oh, it's very easy to spot Zedikiah practically the daylight. The Hattie and Stump don't, but Euphonia, you see like maybe about 50, 60 feet off. You can see where they've had to like start building up the dirt and the ground so it doesn't like start to fall into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And as the lake kind of like makes its own bank, you can see like two figures. And I'd also like you to make me a level 3 roll.
You still have a +1.
I do. I'll go ahead and lower that.
Gotta bring it to 6.
That's a 7.
Perfect. Because again, it looks like daylight to you. So even with like the shadows coming off the mountain, you can see like a bigger shadow in the water. And like as it starts to like raise itself up, at first you see that figure you saw earlier, that like pale woman with like dark shaped clothes, pale blonde hair. But like as it starts to like lift up above the water, you see like scales and like some sort of like claw, you think, as it like starts to like lift up, and like as it starts to kind of like get in the air over these two figures like above the water, like even like the face starts to like distort into like this scaly, long, tendrilled mouth sort of thing. And just kind of hangs there for a moment. And this is what you're seeing, Zedikiah. Raising out above you, like gaping maw open. And there's not even like teeth. It is just an abyss that is like dripping that same mud down its face. And
my body's still not under my own control, I assume.
I'd let you make that intellect defense roll again at a 15.
You have a +1.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I rolled a 14. Give it to me. What happens?
Oh my gosh.
You still have XP.
Do you want to use your XP?
I do not.
Yeah.
There's a big scary river fish here, a lake fish thing, something floating out of the water, and gosh darn it, if I'm gonna get et by it, then that's just how it's gonna go.
I mean, you ate fish tonight. It's only fair.
I sure did. It's just a circle of life happening.
Yeah.
This is just the worst form of noodling right now.
Become the noodle.
That's right. I do have a parting line if the result of this is me getting et by this big fish, because
I would give Euphonia the chance to act.
okay.
If there is any way that I can run down and tackle him out of the way, I will do that.
Yeah, I'd let you make that roll. Let's see. He's standing still. So I would give it to you for a level 4.
Okay. I think I still have 1 ease. I've gotten 2. So I have 1 left. crossing it out now.
So for 3 to 9.
It's an 8. I have an XP though. I'll re-roll it. And that's a 9.
Hey, meets it, beats it.
Oh man.
Meets it, beats it. How exciting.
Hey, sometimes we just have to be very excited to roll a 9.
Yep. I am very excited. So she thunders down the side of this mountain down to the lake and just full right at the knees, nice and neat. Schloop and takes him down.
Somewhere a football recruiter is taking notes at this.
Yep.
The University of Tennessee volunteers are very interested right now. Zedikiah, you are kind of tackled to the ground as this creature just like swoops and where you would have been. And you still don't have control over your body. So you only kind of see like right ahead of you. Though Euphonia and Zedikiah
standing there. And I was tackled out of the way by Euphonia. Did we just say goodbye to the pastor?
No.
Okay.
As I was gonna say, Euphonia, like if you kind of look over to where like the pastor is, you can kind of see like his eyes just kind of reflect like a rusty red as he looks up at this thing. And you just kind of like barely hear it, just, Amelia. And like he's still shaking. I'm doing the best I can. Please come back.
For real.
Did we catch up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say at a certain point, yes.
Can we shove the pastor towards it?
Euphonia, what do you need us to do?
Hey,
Zedikiah, good to see you.
Can he even talk?
That's a good
Does
question.
He have that much control?
I'd say because Zedikiah was talking earlier.
That's on the way here.
Yeah.
That's right.
No reason to change that now.
I do think my body is like kind of struggling to like it wants to get back up and do whatever the bidding.
What is the matter with you? Why are you wiggling?
I don't know. To be terribly honest, it's dark. I was stumbling the whole ways here. My legs have not been doing what I asked them to do. Some fella in a gray suit gave me a business card, and I just haven't been myself since.
Where is it? Where did you put it?
It's with my bell in the pocket.
Pocket of your jacket, I assume.
Yeah, the vest. It's right. I can't reach up and grab it, but you know.
I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna remove your top layer of clothing, and throw it to the side.
Strip him.
So I'd let you make your intellect defense roll again, just because like this is getting tampered with, but it's not so much the card as the act of him accepting it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
You still got that plus one. Use it.
Euphonia, like Zedikiah wasn't really aware enough to notice this, but you watch like as like you take his clothes off and he starts to like struggle a little bit more, like it would correspond to what he's feeling, like lightning struck. You just like watch as this like electricity, soft and white, just kind of like bounces around his skin. Which is why he's able to make it at the 15. It's just we got to get there.
Well, I'll go ahead and use that +1 I got earlier to knock it down to a 12
or a 4.
Yes.
And let's roll and hope. That's a 9. Okay, you know what? We're gonna burn it. We're gonna burn that last XP.
Oh my gosh.
And 19 out of 10 to that, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Perfect.
Home. Let's go home.
Yeah. You can just feel this like electricity like just cascading down to you, and it finally seems to just take hold enough that you're able to shake this off. And
well, I reckon that must have finally done it, Euphonia. It's just taking off the jacket. I feel great. It's like there's I'm shocked. Like static electricity coursing through my skin.
What are we supposed to do with this thing?
Run.
Maybe we can shove the pasta at it and, then run. So it's like a distraction. Because we think he's up to no good, right?
I'll throw that whole man into the lake.
You pick him up. I'll help you.
Yeah.
We go, whee!
The whole man. Throw out the whole man.
Yep.
Throw the baby
I was
in
going to say,
water.
as a 19, you do get a minor effect on it, Zedikiah. And you watch, like, as this electricity kind of, like, bounces down your body as it, like, leaves you. And you see, like, you and Euphonia specifically would say, like, it kind of bounce, like how you can see lightning kind of, like, move sometimes across the surface. Mm-hmm. It like moves across the mud, like a very like tiny version of that entity you saw earlier, towards where like the mountain is like getting beat into.
Well, I reckon what's been going on here has to be stopped. They've been tearing out chunks of the mountain, and it's been bleeding off here into the lake, and I think that's responsible for the things we've been seeing here. If we want to put a start to it, they're throwing bodies at the problem. If we want to put a stop to it, we either got to get all the bodies out of here, or make it so they can't continue their dark work.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Do we need to kill the woman?
I'll be honest, I'm still not completely certain on how exactly she factors into the situation here, although our pastor friend certainly seems distressed, and there's the large fish, and he's talking to it like it's related to her in some fashion.
Has the pastor responded to us at all, or is he just intent on Amelia?
He's very intent on this creature.
How about this? You hand me the poison. I'll put the poison on the pastor. We'll throw the pastor to the Pisces. I needed another P word, sorry.
Yep, for sure. The pastor with the pellet is the pellet with the poison.
The poison for Cusco.
Cusco's poison.
Yeah. So when I made the poison, I upped the level, so it will hinder actions for 10 minutes. So I put it on my knife, and I hand my knife to Stump, and it was just for you, JR. And say, I guess, stab him and throw him in.
Don't have to ask me twice.
I mean, I could set fire to the moonshine as well. We could burn the fish fry.
It would be
one
mighty
before the
full
other.
circle for us to fry up the fish once we're done.
Yeah. I don't know if it's good eating. Those not deer were bad, but
I mean,
hold
I
on, let me
didn't
go
mean we
stab
have
the
to eat
bastard.
it. You should go stab them up again then.
If he's all dazed and confused, I'm just gonna stab him between the shoulder blades
Yeah.
with this dagger.
Mm-hmm.
I got no qualms, and then I'm gonna pick his ass up and throw him in the water like Bane.
Yes, this is the energy.
I'll go
What
get
you
a
need
bit
from
of.
me? That sounds like a
Rip-
roll or
I'll rip
two.
a bit of rag off my many layers of clothing, and I soak it in the moonshine, and I stick it out, so I get ready for us to lob it at the fish lady.
But you got such a intoxicating energy.
I mean, is Stump just trying to push him into the water?
I have to stab at him.
No,
Or-
I'm stabbing him, and then I'm throwing him at the big fish.
Yeet.
If the big fish is still surfaced. If not, then yes, just into the lake.
Like, it is surfaced. It is kind of keeping this eye on, like, all of you, waiting for something to kind of get dropped in the water.
Here you go.
But I'm gonna need Stump to make me a task difficulty 4 roll, so a 12, just because you are trying to lob a grown man into the water.
Out there on lots of pastors. Okay, Dice, you listen to me.
You listen up.
I'm watching you. Is this the one I even want to roll? We're gonna go for it. This is my pastor chucking dice. That's a 14.
Yes.
Good. So yeah, like, as Stump kind of hurries through these motions, and when you, like, actually move to stab this man, like, he just gasps out in pain, and it kind of clears him a little bit, but not enough to kind of obscure your, like, interrupt you at all, as, like, he does end up in the lake. Maybe not quite into this thing's mouth, but you weren't there to see Mr. Beatty get taken. It must have been something like this where he struggles in very shallow water until that movement is just kind of gone.
But we didn't want
and
that
the
knife
lake is
back.
placid.
Anyone got a light?
Probably. Oh no, I still got the lantern. Here you go.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So we managed to light the giant Molotov cocktail. You want to eat that one too?
Not enough to. I thought you'd never ask.
That's romance.
I mean, you got such a powerful yeeting arm. I couldn't compare.
This one's my pastor eating arm. This one's my moonshine eating arm.
It's very
Let's get some
impressive.
fire on the water.
Yep. You are trying to set fire to the water, which means this is going to be a... Well, the thing is, like, as you, like, throw the pastor into the water, this creature goes after him.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
And that's, like, the lake goes still, like, as he disappears. But if you want to set fire to the water, it will be a difficulty level 5. So a 15. Because it is water.
Sure. Yeah, totally. This is what's called a double tap. That's a 15 on the dice. What does that mean?
Yay!
That means that the lake, you kind of, like, watch as this jar hits the water that's on fire. And it's water, so the jar doesn't break.
Mm-hmm.
So for a moment, there is, like, fire on the surface as, like, this moonshine burns, and it just kind of, like, sputters.
Job well done, everybody. Good job.
You think that
High fives.
did it?
How the hell should I know? I had never dealt with a demon fish.
Maybe
what about you, Zedikiah? You see any scary shit? Either you see any ghosts? Haints, spirits, demons, angels.
See anything around other than the continued ravaging of the mountain?
I see a hole we need to close up. If they're going to continue trying to make their way through here, the least we can do is shore up the mountain's defenses while they're making their attempt. If we can stop the flow of the blood of the mountains into the lake, that should quell the damage here for a while, but it's going to take an act of the state or an act of God to put a stop to the railroad's passage.
That's the truth.
I mean, we just kind of technically sacrificed the pasta. Do you think that would be enough?
I don't figure that has much of an effect on the designs of a corporation. Although, it is grounds for a lawsuit.
If there's one thing that can stop the spirits of evil, it's the lawsuit.
Yeah, bureaucratic red tape, right?
And I say two things. I say we rustle up some dynamite from this here build site and we blow closed that hole in the mountain. And in the morning, I start some legal paperwork against this here illicit operation. And we see if we can't get some kind of workers' rights enshrined.
Well, family.
That sounds like a plan.
Yep.
I think that might be the course of action to be taken. Or at least as much as these four are really able to do. Because the thing is, the railroad never really stops, and progress is always going to be pushed for. And those men up at Barrow and Lock can throw as much money as they want into these sort of things. There are ways to fight it. The green always is going to fight back against these deep things when you call upon it. And at the very least, the drowning stop. The deaths on the lake stop. Unfortunately, the deaths on the railroad don't. In Zedikiah, it's still pretty quiet around these parts, and you're not sure it'll ever really get loud again. That doesn't mean y'all stop trying, though. In fact, knowing more about this, I could see all four of you fighting a better fight down the road with more preparation, with more knowledge on just exactly what you're facing, and maybe enough time to shore some things up against the things trapped below the mountain. Lord knows if those things ever get out, it's the end of the world as we know it. But night slowly comes to an end, and I imagine y'all get to your own homes, or one of your homes, or your camp out on the lake. And I'd like to go around and see just what everyone is doing in the aftermath. Zedikiah?
As Zedikiah goes on home, his shoes, of course, covered in all manner of muck and dust from the build site, he pops them off the moment he comes in the door, and the missus, his gray tabby cat, rounds the corner into the room, stops dead in her tracks, staring at the shoes, and then looks up at him and meows incessantly. And he like leans down on his knees and apologizes. I know they're a mess. I know they smell all sorts of strange smells. Look, I'll clean them off in the morning. We'll put them out. I'll put them outside for the night so they don't bother you too bad. And then we'll how about we just get the food going, and I'll pour yourself a bowl of milk. And as he like takes his shoes and sets them on the porch and closes the door and then goes inside and starts heating up a bowl of milk, the missus follows him along, and he sets her tray down, pours it for her, and the two of them share a drink, them, him out of his mug, her out of her bowl, as he looks out of the window into the night and kind of mutters to himself, "This ain't going to be the end of this."
That's one thing for sure. Ms. Euphonia?
I think Euphonia gets back to her home, her little cabin, and just gets her shoes off, gets a cup of tea made, and settles down in her chair for the night. And as she does, like just as she finally sits, there's a knock at the door, and somebody's daughter has been sent for me that there's an accident at the house and somebody needs doctoring. So she laces her boots back up and downs the tea, and off she goes.
Stump.
I go and check out the trap that I set and find a pretty large hare trapped in it. I set up camp at the edge of the lake and start to prepare the hare. And as I start to cook it, I take a chunk out and toss it into the lake. And I think whether it sinks or is taken, it gets pulled beneath the water. And I just kind of look out at it.
She leaves Hattie.
Hattie goes wandering off up the hill looking for a moonshine still. She doesn't have a big jar, but she's got two little glass bottles, so she fills those up. She looks out over the lake from where she is on the hill, and she's like, Tilly, I think maybe we should mosey on to the next town and start wandering again. Maybe we'll come back around this time next year."
She's still pretty silent. Like she has been lately.
Maybe she'll come back the further away I get from this lake. And I'll just pull out my bedroll and camp for the night on the side of the hill and head out the next morning for a skip off to the next town.
There it is.
And regardless where the four of you go, things have a way of working themselves out, and things have a way of not. And Elegy continues to progress this tiny little city, little town in the foothills of Tennessee. Fortunately, at odds with the changing world, the changing times, and all these people coming down from the city. Sometimes it feels like the people themselves are tainting the land, and stuff they do to it makes it harder to turn back time. Maybe one day these things under the earth, the creatures your mamas and grandmamas and even farther back have told about, and whispers, and maybe they do pop up. Maybe at the same time, a bunch of little small town folks like yourself managed to fight it back. But that's a story for the future. And tonight, I think this is where we end our tale as we close on Elegy, waking up to a new day. And I'm not sure if Sero wants us to do outros or anything. Otherwise, I will hand it back to her.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Alyss. It's got a little bit late, guys, but we'll end this pretty quickly. I just want to thank Alyss for running this new to me game. I knew nothing about it before this. I know a little bit more now, having played with it. So thank you for running this 2-shot for us.
Of course.
Awesome.
Hopefully,
And
I made
thank
people
you.
interested in actually watching the podcast.
Yep. If anyone is interested in the Old Gods of Appalachia, TTRPG, I've just linked the link to the free preview on DriveThruRPG. That is an affiliate link, of course, because I want your monies. And thank you again to Cap and to Heather and to David for joining me as my fellow players tonight. Thank you for everyone, to the audience, for showing support, for hanging out with us. You have been awesome. And that just leaves us to all wave awkwardly while I find the bye-bye button, as is usual how we end these streams. Bye.
Night.